No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Welcome back to the Perfect Play Pursuit. So sorry we're late. We have big news, big exciting things to discuss. Hello to Carrie Jane. Sorry for the delay. Where do we even begin? We're going to briefly touch on last week's card because it's already old news at this point, but your boy won over $5,000 on this card. If you were following along in the open bet sheet, if you're betting along in the open bet sheet, perhaps you did too. The open bet sheet found patreon.com/perfectpursuit. I put a Google sheet in there. I post my bets, the structure of them, how much I bet. You can get that in through the Patreon link. But that being said, guys, a huge night for me. Absolutely smashed it. And then put a little bit of the profit on Chase Elliott to win in NASCAR the next day and won another $1,000. So it was a $6,000 weekend that I came away from on the heels of going to Vegas for. I'm going to Vegas next week. I'll be there for the Yuri Prohaska versus Carlos Ulberg card. I'll be at a casino watching that fight, which will be taking place in Miami. But this weekend, we got UFC Vegas 115, Duncan versus Moicano. I'm feeling great about this weekend, too. Feed the hot hand. Can't wait to break this card down. But we got to talk about last week because so much shit happened, guys. Alex, you went 6 out of 6 on the picks you gave on this show. I think you said I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wrong. So I went 7 out of 5.
7 and 5.
7 and 5. 7 out of 13. 7 out of 13. So although we both went just slightly above positive,
12, there was a draw.
A lot of you, when I tell you guys the bets that I won, in some cases, you're going to say, Luke, on this show, you picked Israel Adesanya. How did you profit off of Joe Pyfer? And I'll point you to the open bet sheet. And I'll say, guys, I do the show on Monday most days. Today's Thursday, but we do the show on Monday. And by Friday, by the way, and sometimes the mind changes. So if you want to see how I've changed my mind, you got to look at the open bet sheet. That being said, Alex, how was your viewing experience for the card? Let's get that out of the way so then I can talk about how great mine was and how I was feeling to reach leg of this parlay, finishing to win me $5,000. UFC out of one of the best cards I've ever seen. I agree, Carrie Jane.
Yeah, it was a great card, and shout out to the ladies. It was a ladies' night. Those are usually the fights I hit the head. I used the restroom both times in the O'Neely fight and the Alexa Grasso fight. I used the bathroom. I come back, the fight's already done. I said, "What the hell happened here?" I just see freaking what's her name, Miranda Maverick? No, Macy Barber. Macy. I just see Macy Barber splayed out like a zombie on the ground. That was excellent. Navajo Sterling finally.
That was not excellent. That was a little traumatic for me. I personally I love Macy Barber. I think she's a sweetheart. And I was so worried and distraught that she was possibly dead because, I thought she had like a heart attack. I mean, the reason I thought this is because she was supposed to fight Erin Blanchfield and something happened backstage and we never really got closure on that. The only thing I can really think, like, what could happen backstage where, they stop, you don't make the walk. It would have had to be something that really worried the UFC. And to me, that's not like a back spasm. That's not like, and if it were something like she twisted her ankle, we'd hear about that. But to me, it was like, well, what was it? Was it a heart thing? I believe
it was reported a seizure.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought it was. Like, okay, so that's a brain thing or a heart thing. And either way, not good. And I thought when she got knocked out and then as she's going out, gets choked, and people will say like, oh, it was a knockout, not a submission. Well, first of all, it was both. It was really truly the best example of both, where she was knocked out, like going on the way down, and then Grasso hit her with another shot when she was like halfway down that really put her out before grabbing the neck. So 2 concussive blows, grabs the neck, and if you grab somebody's neck and you squeeze the fucking shit out of it really quickly, and they already are like in a transfer of blood where like if you time it right, like almost like a level, like if you like breaking a can with your thumb, you know what I mean? Like you can do a shotgun with your thumb if you catch that air bubble and pierce it with your thumb. Like that's how I see the blood system and the circulatory system. So it's like all that's happening and her brain is like shutting down, and then all of a sudden when it needs oxygen the most, no oxygen is going there. It might have created like a heart attack situation. I don't know. So I was
think the Gracies say 7 weeks without food before you die, 7 days without water, you will die, 7 seconds without oxygen, you will die.
That's not true. That's definitely not true.
It's all Brazilian mumbo jumbo magic. Okay,
that's
you can go. That's what they say. That's not what I say. I cited.
Maybe they mean 7 seconds and you'll pass out. Like maybe. If you're I know no, because you can hold your breath for way longer than 7 seconds. Listen. No, but couldn't disagree more with MMA Guru's assessment of things in that fight.
He's faking.
Dustin Jacoby.
It was like, but I love that he had that take because it calmed me. Because it was like from my vantage point, he said the thing that was the exact opposite. So I was like, that's hilarious that like somebody could have the exact opposite. Like anytime something's the exact opposite, it's automatically a joke, And
I believe what he meant was it wasn't that she was faking; it was that she was playing it up once she came to. So
no,
to make it all about her. That's quote.
She wasn't. She didn't know where she was. B. Nobody knows who you are. B. And here's how I know that's true. She woke up, and the doctor got on his one knee and was talking to her, and exactly what a doctor says when you've been knocked out. The first thing he says is, "It's been this way since boxing. Do you know where you are?" A police officer will say that, an EMT will say that, a referee will say that.
Followed by what day it is, who is the president. Yep. Those are the questions.
Do you know where you are? Is what he said. I read his lips, but I just know that's what he said. It was the pace of what he said. He goes, "Do you know where you are?" And I can read her lips perfectly. She sits there, she goes, "No." That was what she said. And that was haunting to me. Because I know I've had people in my life who've had post-concussion syndrome where, and you've seen it, like you've heard about it, where like even Kamaru Usman talked about it, where when he got knocked out by Leon Edwards, like this is the common thing that'll happen. You get knocked out, you wake up, you're like, what the fuck happened? And then you're sitting there and the ref's about to raise your hand. You're like, oh, I'm in the fight. I got knocked out. And then you say to your coach, what happened? You knocked me out. It's like, yeah, what with what? A head kick. A head kick. Got it. And then you're walking back to the locker room and you're like, man, I can't believe I got knocked out. And then 2 seconds later, you look at your coach, yo, when's the fight start?
I mean, even for me, once I got a concussion when I was in high school wrestling, and my mom was taking me to the doctors like 3 days later, and I was like, yeah, that was a hell of a match, though. I whooped that guy's ass. And she was like, no, after you got your concussion, you kind of just like fucked off and got pinned. I was like, I was up 10 points. She was like, yeah, no, I know. But once you got that concussion, it kind of like all went downhill from there. You got off the mat and you threw up. I was going to the doctor for my neck. We didn't even know I had a concussion.
Well, it's scary. Yeah, it's really scary. And so before we kind of break down each fight by fight, let me just go over how I ended up winning a shitload of money. So I placed my bets before the card. I'd say I had about $500 to $600 out on the evening. I had some bets, some long parlays. The first fight that really was important to me was I had Ricky Simone across a lot of parlays, including 3 of the ones, 2 of the 3 that I won. So I won 3 parlays. 2 of those included Simone. Much different night if Ricky Simone doesn't get that draw for me. So I had no idea how much of a blessing that was. When it happened, I was very happy, but I had no idea how happy I should have been. And it was interesting. So my wife is about to leave to go somewhere with the kids, and she comes down to say goodbye, and I'm just like, and she's like, what's up? I'm like, fucking Ricky Simone lost the fight. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, fucking sucks. And then she's like, all right, well, later. And it kind of like ruined the goodbye. Like, it wasn't like, all right, bye. It was like a sad, like, she's like, all right, well, I'll see you later. Then they announced as draw. I run up the stairs. I catch her before she leaves. And I go, it was a draw. And she's like, just gives me the biggest hug. And she goes, I knew it, babe. I knew the night was going to turn around for you. When I walked upstairs, I said, he's going to win tonight. He's going to win a lot of money tonight. And I'm like, you're a soothsayer, babe. So we after that, the next leg that was in the parlays, that one that I needed, and it was Navajo Sterling by knockout.
Finally.
And then it was
Finally he gets a fucking knockout. This guy has been the most boring dude ever since he's came into the UFC. It only took Bruno Lopez for him to get a knockout.
Yeah.
And it took him 9 minutes still.
Yeah. So that was great. And then the next leg that really was impactful was Tyrell Fortune. I had him in a parlay by knockout. He did not get it. No worries. But then in 2 other parlays, I had Lance Gibson in the very next fight.
Did you have any action on Fortuna winning in general across the board in any of your parlays? Because how great must that have felt?
I did, Alex, but the problem is I had Gabby Fernandez over O'Neely in both of the ones that had Fortune money line.
How great must have that felt for somebody who has Tyler Fortuna as his last pick on his parlay, sees Marcin Tybura get his hand raised, and he's about to throw his fucking remote through the TV, and then, hey, boys, get back out here. Hold on 1 sec. Come on back out.
I would feel like a god. I would be like, I guess I really can't fucking lose. They could say the other guy's name, and they'll still bring him back to fucking actually correct. Like I'm literally altering timelines in real time here.
I think I was playing a little Counter-Strike during that one because it was a little carryover from the Casey O'Neely fight where, guys, like a women's fight, especially one that's like, the top 20 woman in the world versus the top 25th woman in the world. I could give 2 shits about the outcome, what's happening. I'm not betting on it. I had Casey O'Neely. By emphatic fashion. But am I betting on minus 200 Casey O'Neely against fucking... Oh, I guess it was minus 125. I feel like the line inflated a little bit right before the fight, but maybe I'm crazy.
No, I mean, it was pretty closely lined. And then, I mean, if you said it in emphatic fashion, you probably could have got it at plus 400 if you took her by knockout or by submission.
Yeah, I hope she never gets a knockout again. I second MMA Guru if I ever have to hear that scream again in my life that she did. Maybe that's what Sean Strickland was talking about her doing in the car. She gets done practice.
Well, she cried too. She's emotional. She cries. She screams.
She's a wild girl.
So I get it. You started a game of Counter-Strike, so you thought that fight was going to go to decision. It didn't, so it carried over.
I saw Marcin Tybura get his hand raised, and I'm like, what the and then I see them back in the cage, and I see Marcin Tybura, and I'm like, what do you mean? What's going on? What are we doing here, B? And all of a sudden, Tyrell Fortuna is getting his hand raised. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know what way's up. I'm not listening to the shit. I'm like, I'm sitting here. I'm like, somebody's planning B. Wait.
Yeah, that's nuts. So I wasn't too impacted by that necessarily. Next fight, Lance Gibson Jr. just murks Chase Hooper, reproving my point. I would knock Chase Hooper the fuck out if we fought. I would knock. You could put me in there tomorrow. You could literally put me in there tomorrow. I'll tell you this. I promise you guys. Chase Hooper is not going to be able to get me to the ground. I wrestled in New Jersey. Like, I'm not saying I'm the best wrestler in the world, but I'm good enough to where Chase Hooper is never in his life going to be able to take me down with a takedown ever. Okay.
In fact, Luke was so not good at wrestling. I texted our legendary coach who just retired. Hey, congrats on the retirement. And he said, tell your sister I said hi, because she was the manager on the wrestling team while I was wrestling.
He forgets we're brothers all the time. We have different last names. And also, that's better for me. He thinks of me so highly that he doesn't associate me with you. You know what I mean? You're misinterpreting it. He forgets that we're brothers. And that's because he's like, yeah, Luke is upstanding. Alex is a degenerate. Like, that's why. He's like, and you and our sister have the same last name, so that's why he knows more easily. And you were also in high school at the same time together.
Yep.
I wasn't in school with you. He forgets all the time that we have different last names. Call him right now. Be like, who do you like more, me or fucking my brother Luke?
Like, he would easily say me because I'm the one calling him. And I did play a little bit of a nasty prank on him one time. We'll say that for all fair.
I'll be like, whose team did you like better? My team,
mine.
Coaching, my team. He's retired, so we can talk about this now.
It was easily mine. We got second in states.
No.
South Jersey states, yeah.
So anyway, you did not get second in the state.
South Jersey, Group 1.
Yeah, okay. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you
Tri-County Conference champs. What are you talking about?
Okay, that's cool. So listen, so were we, by the way. So
okay.
I don't know, but it's foggy. It's many beers ago. You know, I'm not like a guy who
Numbers guy B?
Numbers guy B, yeah. So listen,
I love this energy. We need to start doing the pod earlier every week. Like, this energy is contagious right now. And I'm coming on for an after show after this because I'm fucking buzzing.
Yeah, I thought you had plans tonight. That's why we were doing it early. I didn't know that your plans were to play video games. Okay, no problem. So the thing is, you got to imagine, for me to pick Lance Gibson as a plus 250 underdog, to put him on this parlay, to see that outcome was just music to my ears. I mean, it was cinema. It was delightful. It was a feast for the eyes. It was a delicious morsel. He cracked him with a punch, cracked him with an elbow, cracked him with a kick, and cracked him with a knee. And then the ref stopped, and some people cry early stoppage. I'm like, he literally hit him with every single weapon you can possibly use in your entire arsenal, followed by Chase Hooper falling to the ground. If I just told you that, what would you say? Like, it was not an early stoppage. Chase Hooper needs to find a way to get fights to the ground besides getting absolutely shit rocked and then pulling guard or falling to guard. That's his way of getting the fight to the ground these days, and it's not going to work against a guy as dynamic, explosive, powerful as a Lance Gibson Jr. Skill aside, doesn't even matter how skilled they are. You can put Chase Hooper against anybody who's that archetype or that type of build to speed to strength to sturdiness ratio, and that guy is never going to be afraid of Chase Hooper's punches, and that guy is never going to get taken down by Chase Hooper, and they're not too dumb to jump into his fucking guard. He will lose every fight that you put him in as that matchup. His height doesn't mean anything. He needs to get on a cycle and some peptides outside of the UFC, come back actually strong and built like a man, because he's not built like a man. And I would knock him out in a UFC fight for sure. He would never take me down. I'm a blue belt, almost a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. He's not going to submit me in 5 minutes with gloves on easily. No way. Even if he does get me down, if I slip on a banana peel. And he's not going to knock me out because I've never even been hit to I've been all right, I've gotten a lot of concussions, and I shouldn't say that I'm unblemished, but I don't have all the years of training and fighting professionally behind me, so he could hit me pretty damn hard. I'm not going to get knocked out.
And you do have what some call the death touch.
I have the death touch.
You did that punching bag, the punching thing. Luke does have the death touch. That is factual.
I fucking broke.
He might not have the crispest. He might not look like Ilya Topuria.
I do look like Ilya Topuria. Yeah, and that video is me playing around. I'm trying to do a little hands down thing there, but when I hit the boxing ball, my hands are up. You know what I mean? My guard is tight, and it doesn't even need to be because I have a brick head. You can hit me with a baseball bat. I'm probably going to still be there. And if I'm just doing one fight against Chase Hooper, I'll just...
You have gotten hit in the head with a baseball bat before, haven't you?
Yeah, one time by accident, yeah.
Crazy.
I was at baseball practice, and the kid went pulled it back with to get ready for his swing with an aluminum bat, and bang! Rocked me when I was 8. I didn't get knocked out. I didn't even fall. All stars. All fucking stars. Didn't
Never
fall.
Lost, not even around.
Never been dropped in my life.
Do you think, have you ever seen the movie Tenet or The Black Klansman?
Nope.
Great movies. You should watch them. Tenet is what's the one with the top and Leonardo DiCaprio?
Inception.
It's a lot like Inception. I love Tenet. I think it's Nolan, right? Made both of those.
Okay.
Lance Gibson Jr. looks like Denzel Washington's son, who is the main role in both of those movies. A very, very handsome guy, this Lance Gibson Jr.
And I loved how he was like, "Hey guys, I was born in Seattle. You don't have to boo me." And the liberal Seattle, passive aggressive West Coast people were like, "Oh no!" And they start cheering for him, and they have their guilt just their guilt was just washing over them, and they were like, "Oh great, wait till this is gonna end up on the news." It was so funny, but beautiful performance by Lance Gibson Jr. Did exactly what you're supposed to do. And then the next leg of my parlays, Terrence McKinney. Now I also took a stab on a single bet, McKinney by decision. Okay, $75 was going to pay $1,575. This was a 20-1 plus 2,000 odds. So I'm playing this every single time Terrence McKinney fights because I only have to be right once. And he's think about it. If it's 20-1, he's not going to fight 20 more times in the UFC without the fight going to a decision. So I bet $100.
Just like when I caught the knife on Sadiq Youssef versus Don Imus
by submission.
By submission.
Only time he's gotten a submission, but we knew he
Only
trained with Lloyd Irving. We know he's sick on the ground. We know Don Imus is not, Seamus Don, Seamus. But anyway, so great bet, great pick. But I threw that on there. I'm just glad that like it happened so quick so that I didn't even ever think I had a prayer. But shame on you, Kyle Nelson. Shame on you, Kyle Nelson. Like, you get kicked in the arm, a glancing blow, you go down and you just shell up like that. Like, what is going on? Like, that was miserable. That was like a piss poor performance. To me, it's cuttable. PPP, piss poor performance.
What do you think about the astronaut one is a pretty good one as well, just because I wanted to know your opinion on Tawfiq Youssef or Tawfiq Musafar.
Something, my brother. So I was going to put a bet on this fight. In fact, I think I knew I had this bet, Terrence McKinney by decision, to pay $1,500. As the fight's about to start, I'm looking at Kyle Nelson. I'm like, Kyle Nelson's fucked, dude. He's gonna get destroyed. So I'm like, real quick, I'm gonna put a $250 bet on McKinney by knockout round 1 at like plus 140 or something like that, right? It would have won me like $400 on top of the 250 back, right? So like 650 or so. I forget what it was. It was like, okay, I'm gonna win like some money in case I lose my 75 on McKinney by decision. And I'm like, because Kyle Nelson's not gonna win. So, and I don't think he's gonna last more than one round. So I was like, all right. I go to put the bet in and the fight starts and I can't put it in. I'm like, fuck. It took me longer to do the stuff, right? So I have this 250 sitting there. And I'm like, all right, we got these parlays rocking. Like, no need to bet this. Let's just wait for the end of these parlays. And oh wait, no, it must have not been that. What was it? It was because did they fight after? Am I wrong about this? I'm looking at my list.
They fought after Sadiq Musafayev and Ignacio Bahamundes.
But that's what my list on Topology says, but it might not be accurate necessarily. Let me check. I want to figure out who I was going to bet on, because I remember it was like that one was going to be right? That one was going to be right. It must have been Lance Gibson Jr. by knockout. Maybe that's what it was. Because that's the fight that happened before Bahamundes. So anyway, I got this 250, or maybe it was Tyrell Fortune by knockout. It was somebody. It was one of the two fights before this fight. I go, let me put, you know what? Let me just put it on Bahamundes by finish, right? And I'm like, about to do it, and then I don't. I just don't. I was like, you know what? Nah. And then the fight happens how it happened. So I was pretty happy.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I more so want to know what you think about like the fence grab is. I saw Bilal Muhammad.
I bet on Mustafayev. I'd be happy as fuck that he did that shit. So I didn't bet. I didn't have a bet on it. So my opinion is like,
headbutts on the ground.
Yeah, it's not my job to get up mad about that. It's Bahamundes' job to get mad about that. It's the ref's job to feel like he didn't do a good job. I can't control that. If you know what I mean, like. I don't care, I guess, is kind of I don't look at it like, all right, put it this way. If it was like Cyril Gane eye-poking Tom Aspinall, yeah, I care a lot about that. I think that's like Cyril Gane is a repeat eye-poking offender. Like I don't think that's cool to poke somebody. Pretty much poking somebody in the eyes and kicking them in the nuts are the only fouls I really kind of like. I'm like, all right, like, yeah, don't be doing that. Other than eye pokes and groin shots, I really
makes sense because you're an eye guy and I'm a balls guy. My balls messed up, your eyes messed up.
It's kind of like, well, no, it's like you need those two things. So if we're agreeing that this is sport, then let's just get those two things out of the way. But everything else is fair game. You know what I mean? And like that might sound crazy because it's like, well, okay, so you want somebody to be able to kick them in the head while they're on the ground? I'm like, well, yes, because
I would love that
because the fighters want it to be as real as it gets, like a simulation for what a street fight would be. Now, you can't have everybody poking each other in the eyes because then you won't have a roster and like everybody will have like 2 fights before they can't fight ever again or even see. You know what I mean? So to have the product, you need to have not that. And then nobody would do it if you were able to destroy somebody's dick and they couldn't procreate or have sex ever again. Now nobody's going to do the sport. You know what I mean? And also, again, like you wouldn't be able to continue doing it.
Was it Gary Goodridge who said, I turned his balls to peanut butter?
Yeah. And like that to me, that's okay. So if you're going to, for example, if you're going to legalize eye pokes and groin strikes, which would be the counterpoint, like to counter my argument, you said, no, Luke, I think if you're going to have kicks to the head of a downed opponent or being able to stomp somebody's, which you can do, stomp somebody's knee and break it. Like it's like if you want to do those things, which can end somebody's career in a different way, what you have to have those things. I would say, all right, then you need to have biting too. Then you can bite.
Bring that fella back. Bring that one fella back who left a big ass mark on the guy's bicep.
Now we talked about this, Alex, and I don't even know if I want to disclose my idea here, but I think the best way to do it would be when the cornerman is putting on the Vaseline, he applies a level of lipstick.
Mm-hmm.
That because truly, if you take somebody's back, you can elbow the spine and kill them. So taking the back should be like a win. Like you take their back, you should be able to win because you can just elbow their spinal column and the back of their head until they're dead. So, okay, but we obviously can't have them kill somebody in there, right? But even more than like elbowing the back of their head, you do that, you might break your own elbow, you might miss, and then they get a reversal on you. So if you're a true martial artist, that wouldn't even be the most smart thing to do. Like the most high reward, little risk thing to do if you have somebody's back would be to bite their jugular vein. Because then you're just still maintaining proper technique. You're not putting yourself at risk of them like getting out. You're controlling them. You can't get the choke. Fuck it. Ha! You bite their jugular vein and kill them, right? But we obviously can't have guys biting each other's jugular veins and killing them in the octagon. Here's where the lipstick comes in. If we apply the lipstick, then when they get the back, they can simulate a bite and they will leave the mark on the jugular vein. And then it is up to the ref to conclude, okay, the lipstick is touching the jugular vein. That's an automatic kill shot. That's an automatic win. TKO win by back bite, by neck bite, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hey, don't let them bite your neck. Fucking protect your protect your neck. Like, and that'll make guys more open to getting choked because they're trying to prevent that. Then you can get more chokes. It'll ultimately be better. And it'll also be so cute to see the fighters in lipstick.
Yes.
And
yes,
see these guys kissing on each other's necks. Like it would be good for a lot of things. Like it would be good for the gander, as they say, good for the goose, good for the gander. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comments about that idea. I think that if you really want it to be as real as it gets, then you need to figure out a way to showcase that if this were real life, I could bite his neck right here. Oh yeah,
no doubt about it. I think that
there's also a vein on the inside of the thigh that is really that is an artery, a main artery. So like maybe if they get bit on the thigh, that's also an instant win. Wouldn't you like to see somebody just trying to nibble on somebody's thigh competitively under the unified rules?
Well, these rules, I don't know how unified they will be, just because.
Let's fucking go Indeed. Stefan Dean Lugmeyer. Let's fucking go Indeed. And I know that you are saying that in regards to my neck kissing and thigh kissing idea for the UFC. I know that that's what you're thinking. I know that's what the Let's Fucking Go is applying to it. He's like, I would love to see these guys with lipstick on.
And it will be called the GAY, the Genuinely Athletic Yüzbaşı, which is a Turkish military term for like the most badass guy in the world. That is what we will call this organization, the GAY Championship. And I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah, impressed how you got there.
I love the balls on my mouth.
So anyway, we have a card to break down, but let me just finish how I got my $5,000 parlay win. 3 parlays, a 4-leg parlay. It was a 5. It had Ricky Simone on it. That got voided. Sterling by knockout, Lance Gibson Jr., Terrence McKinney, then money line. And then the final leg of that one was Piper by finish. $40 bet, paid $1,446. Then we had a 6-leg parlay that got knocked down to a 5. Also had Ricky Simone. This one had Sterling by knockout, Lance Gibson Jr., Terrence McKinney, same first 3, but add Grasso. I know. I picked Barber on the show. I had another parlay running alongside it. Simone, McKinney, Douglas, first round knockout, Chiesa by submission, Barber, Piper by finish. Both of these two, that one was made with a free bet. Both of these parlays were paying identical amounts with different combinations, mostly the same combination, but with the one difference being one had Grasso, one had Barber. So either I almost cashed one of them out. I almost cashed the Barber one out because I was like, Alexa Grasso looks like she's ready to fucking kill right now. But I didn't. I let them both play. I didn't gamble with it. I said one of them will advance to the final round. One of them will lose. And the last leg of both of those parlays was Piper by finish. So Sterling by knockout, Lance Gibson, Terrence McKinney, Alexa Grasso, Piper by finish. That was a 5-leg parlay, $27 paid. Actually, these are the wrong payouts because the Simone voiding changed it. So it was like $27 for like $1,400. And the 40 for 1440 was actually like 40 for 940 with Simone dropping off. The last parlay, so we had the 5, we had the 4, and then this was a 3. $50 bet paid $27.22.85. This was simply Douglas. What's his name? Lyman Douglas.
Lerone. It was Lerone.
Lerone Douglas. KO round 1 over Julian Erosa. You guys know I love Julian Erosa. You guys know I fucking love Julian Erosa. This guy Douglas, he trains with Cub Swanson. He looks like a fucking killer. I knew he
looked like a Cub Swanson.
He looked like a Cub Swanson. He fight like a Cub Swanson. He looked like a man. Okay, and I knew Douglas was going to absolutely fucking destroy Erosa in round 1. Hats fucking off to Erosa for like just giving us that show. I mean, when we're watching the fight, I point out to my wife, I'm just like, just do you see where Erosa's hands are? Here, you know what I mean? Like big ass lanky body, big ass lanky face, and his hands are at his knees. You know what I
Julian
mean?
Erosa looking like a big Mike.
And Julian Erosa does look like a big Mike. And Julian Erosa also is totally like reckless and fun, but against a guy like Douglas, just like with Hooper and Gibson, you're just he's gonna find you and touch you, and you're gonna go out. You've been out before. Douglas KO 1, Michael Chiesa by submission. Easiest bet of anybody's fucking lifetime. And Piper by KO in this one. So 2 of them were by finish because I did think high probability of him getting that neck and is he quitting and is he giving up. Piper by KO in this one. So you imagine my excitement, and by the way, I called this fight to a fucking T, not on the show, but as the days progressed and as they were fighting, I say to my wife, I go, in round 1, I'm like, look, Izzy starting to really feel himself. And at the end of the day, that's so good for Piper because the way Izzy wins this is the way he beat Cannonier, Romero, Vittori by decision over the long game without putting himself at too much risk. But when I saw the interview of him showing, like, telling Oscar Willits or somebody, like, this is where I want to be in the fight right here, and he showed him, like, training clips, and you can just tell, like, he's showing him some badass shit of him, like, in the pocket fucking doing his, how he beat Pereira, right? Like, getting him in close and just, slugging. And once I saw that in combination with how he looked on the scales, in combination with reflecting on his age, understanding that for Izzy's style, much like MVP style, it's heavily dependent upon speed, timing, accuracy, brain decision-making going well, like quick thinking, fast twitch. And the older you get, the worse that is. Piper isn't somebody who gets knocked out easily. Piper is somebody who might have gotten discouraged over the 5 if he wasn't able to get to him. But ultimately, I saw Piper's mentality was seek and destroy. I saw Izzy's mentality wasn't to evade necessarily. And I knew that Piper would be willing to eat 2 to give the 1 that he needed to change the whole trajectory of the fight. And he did just that. Hurt him on the feet, ended up getting him to the ground. I told my wife, he's going to grab the neck here. He's going to take the neck. I was like, Izzy's going to give it up. And props to Izzy. Hats off to Izzy. Did not do that. Got flattened out. Got smashed out. But ultimately, I don't think Izzy should retire at the end of the day. I've bet correctly on Izzy every one of his most recent losses. I picked Strickland to beat him. I bet on it. I picked the Duplessis to beat him. I bet on it. I picked Amalwolf to beat on it. I've won a lot of money now, almost like 10 grand literally on Izzy cards just by fading him. And it's been phenomenal. So hats off to Joe Piper. My feelings are because I have this win and because I won all this money, I can forever forgive Michael Chiesa, even though you guys know I hate him, even though you guys know I think that he's a charity case, even though everybody thinks that it's the most unimpressive 4-fight win streak of all time. You got 4 opponents with 55 losses between them. It's insane that he got that kind of treatment when they wanted to feed Nate Diaz to fucking Khamzat Chimaev. Always remember that. Always remember that the way they wanted to treat Nate Diaz, who did way more for them than fucking Chiesa's ever done, the way they wanted to say, here's your hat, what's your hurry, was give him Khamzat Chimaev. The MMA gods corrected that, gave him Tony Ferguson, and look at Nate now on Theo Von's podcast, just making everybody laugh, having the best time.
That was hilarious. Did you see him clowning Dustin Poirier right to Dustin Poirier's best friend's face, Theo Von?
I love when he goes, it's like, let's make fun of him a little bit. That was so fucking funny. So listen, fuck Michael Chiesa.
I disagree.
Don't let the door hit him in the ass on the way out. I'm only disheartened by his retirement to know that now I have to see him more as a fucking desk jockey. As a, it's so annoying the people they put on the desk. But it was very funny.
Where I completely agree with Nate Diaz again. He was on Theo Von talking. He was like, all the guys on the desk, like Daniel Cormier, respect to Daniel Cormier. The only fight I ever saw him fight, he picked the guy up. He was showboating. Then next thing you know, he's on his back, knocked out, unconscious.
I'm like, that never happened.
That never happened.
Wait, good idea to get the heated rivalry on MMA. There's nothing like my idea doesn't take anything away. You know what I mean? Like
except for eye pokes, because they will be wearing fashionable goggles.
Fashionable goggles. I think fashionable goggles is a great idea. And so, but my idea to just put lipstick on them and allow them to have one more move in the arsenal to win a fight. It's not the worst idea in the world, and it can be any color lipstick they want, so they can get creative with it. Some guys will do white lipstick. Some guys will do pink lipstick. Sometimes, it'll be Sean O'Malley can do pink lipstick. This is some guys can do like a design, like a Brazilian design, like flag, So tough fight to watch. Izzy better? He did all the things he needed to win, then decided to brawl. No. He did not decide to brawl and lose. That is not accurate. He did not decide to brawl and lose. It's a fight, and he got hit with a punch, and he has never been good at getting up from bottom position. And Joe Pyfer is.
I do kind of agree with that. I think
Pyfer might be one of the better. Joe Pyfer he might be one of the best grapplers in the division.
No, but I do agree with that sentiment of like, I think Izzy's at his like hurt me phase. Like he's a very emotional guy, and we all know this. Like he's like in his I want to just feel something phase. You know what I mean? He's in his I want to feel something. I want to come in there and I want to get knocked out. That's completely fine.
You're right, but it's more like he wants to get back to a mentality of dominance and winning, and like that's hard to do.
I'm player one. Now you're an NPC, brother.
Like funneling that through his style is hard to kind of do. Like his style is about confidence. And that's why O'Malley's not like doing all that great these days.
Yeah.
Because their style is about like confidence and like swagger and
Yeah.
If you hit that, like you're hitting more than people think. No, more than people.
I've got something to say about the Chiesa Nico Price situation. Nico Price is a fucking moron. He doesn't have 2 IQ points to scratch together. The fact that he thought that taking his gloves off in the middle of the cage, Nico Price, you don't even deserve any of that. Like, I know we gave slippery Steve Peterson a nice little send-off. You're 8-11-2 in the UFC. 8-11-2.
We didn't give.
You don't deserve it.
Steve Peterson. They didn't give Stinky Pete.
They gave him at least the mic to talk.
Okay,
He got sent to the Shadow Realm. Situations are different, but you're fighting against a guy who is a desk jockey, who if you've watched any fight and seen, Angela Hill got a B roll. Oh, this guy, Michelle Waterson got a B roll when she never did shit. Angela Hill's still fighting. But Michelle Waterson, some of these other people who've gotten B rolls that you're like,
Carlos
Esparza. No, she was a champ. All respect. She was actually the first champ, Luke. She was a pioneer of the sport. She's going to be
That's
the
really
pioneer.
what started it all off.
But anywho, Nico Price sitting around with his thumb in his ass like DC's going to pass him the mic to spit a quick rhyme or something is absurd. It just goes to show that we need to have more education to become a cop in America at this point, because if you're sitting around looking for the mic when you see Michael Chiesa, the desk jockey who they want. We called this. We all called this on fucking Monday last week. There's no way Michael Chiesa ain't getting a B-roll if you're giving Michelle Waterson a B-roll. Okay? Michael Chiesa at least had a better career than Michelle Waterson by far. He was in he was in the picture. He was in the picture for a title, but he doesn't deserve it. Like, if you're not giving Tony Ferguson that fucking opportunity, I mean, even Kevin Lee, who beat the shit out of Michael Chiesa, you're not giving him that opportunity. It's bullshit. It's all moot. It's a moot point.
It's sad. It's embarrassing. It makes me and us all as fans have to be embarrassed when we're watching the fight with a casual person who doesn't know the sport that much, and they have to see that, and then they have to ask us, like, who's this guy? And we have to be like, he
once said, "Don't you ever talk about my mom."
Yeah,
that's pretty much
man.
it.
Listen, remember when Conor McGregor threw the bus through the bus window? Yeah, that's where you have to start this.
Yeah. Absolutely. So bullshit that he got a montage in the first place. I'm all for giving people their due, but like, guys, this is a production here. We're not giving a fucking 8-11-2 fighter in the UFC. Like, the fact that Steve Peterson, Slippery Steve, even got the mic in the first place is absurd. And I know they were in his hometown and all that stuff, so they wanted to get the crowd going, give him a good send off, whatever. Nico Price, you're a fucking idiot. That's insane. You shouldn't be waiting around for that shit. Usury, although it is...
They should have gave Nico the mic first. Or if Chiesa was classy...
If anything, but they shouldn't have given either of them the mic. Like,
if Chiesa was classy, he would have did this. DC, real quick, I want to bring Nico over here. He's retiring tonight too. Nico, you've been in the UFC almost 20
years.
fights.
He's a selfish cuck, and that's why... The fact that he got glass in his eye or glass in his fucking forehead one time in his life is the reason that he has a red carpet rolled out for him everywhere he goes. He's ugly. He has a face for radio. He doesn't have good analyst work. And on top of that, he was never even a good fighter. He was a good fighter. He was never a great fighter. He was never even in...
I would say he's not even a fighter because every time shit went bad for him, he quit.
Lost. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Him and Anthony Smith are the two biggest examples of this, and they're the two most recent examples of a B-roll send-off.
That's another one.
Followed by a permanent paycheck desk job.
Anthony Smith, he lost money in a paycheck.
Hmm?
Anthony Smith is not a desk jockey anymore.
Yeah, well, hopefully that will be saying the same.
He got kicked out because he looks like fucking the guy with the metal teeth in James Bond. He shouldn't have never been in front of us in the first place.
Jaws, good reference.
Thank you. What's that guy's name? Lockjaw? Jaws. That's it. Alexa Grasso, beautiful performance, beautiful feet. Macy Barber, I lean more toward MMA Guru side of things after seeing the video the day after her. She's like, look at my lip,
Yeah,
I kind of see where the Guru was coming from on that one.
She has a concussion.
I did want to touch on usury, although it is illegal in my religion to partake in usury. I loved his performance. I thought he did an amazing job. I mean, he probably could have got him out of there earlier. I think the ref should have called that a little earlier. He probably could have gotten a knockout in the second round or the first round. I
think that Mansour
beat the shit out of Mansour doing the league.
I wanted to be like, yo, what after round one? What's the game plan, man? What's the game plan? Like, this guy, you're not going to be able to take him down more easily next round. Like, the round one was your chance. Like, you should have jumped on him like fucking Habib and pushed him to the side and got him down. You got
to get him while he's dry. You got to get him on the ground. You
got to be willing to go to step 2, step 3, step 4. You're not going to get him down with step 1.
And then once you threaten, get that takedown, every other round, your striking is going to come up a lot better.
Like, I think it's kind of impossible in this weight class for anybody to get him down, though. His takedown defense and his height and his leg strength is so much that, like, if you're
told you this shit all last week. I said,
not bigger than
Usury's doing all of the right shit. He's going to Glover Teixeira. He sees, Alex Pierre, a guy who knocked me out in kickboxing, or it was a doctor stoppage, I believe, where apparently Usury was winning that fight. I never watched it, but he saw, Alex Pierre is having all this success. let me see what this Glover Teixeira guy is talking about, my personal friend. Let me see what he's talking about. Let's go over there. Let's see what made Alex Pereira the big name, the most massive name in the UFC right now. Who made this guy? Let me talk to him. And Glover Teixeira, he deserves Coach of the Year award for the last 4 years, if you ask me. You see these kickboxing guys coming over with lethal hands, lethal knees, lethal kicks, and they're coming in, translating to a sport they've never done before, and absolutely killing it. And that reminds me, I did want to touch on something DC said in response to Nate Diaz. He said, "You are 16-11 in a sport you chose. A sport you chose." Okay, Dan, let's bring up the sport you chose. You lost over 100 times in the sport you chose, wrestling. You lost a spot on the Olympic team because you couldn't put down the fucking popcorn for 2 seconds.
That's not true. He was
he lost a spot at the Olympic Games because he had a seizure, because he missed weight, because he was not disciplined. And he even admitted this on the Megan O'Leary show where they're like behind the fighter. He's like, yeah, I just thought everything was coming. The weight comes off all the time. As you get older, it's a lot harder. No, dude, you lost an American wrestling team spot where there's hundreds of guys who would have jumped at that opportunity, taken that opportunity. You wait until the day of the Olympics. You have to weigh in, and you couldn't get the weight off, so you had a seizure. That's what happened. That's the fact of the matter. Don't fucking sit here and talk about sport you chose, dumbass, because you have a lot more losses in wrestling than Nate Diaz ever had in fucking MMA, okay? Sorry. I commented that on his video when he was like,
and John Jones took DC down. That's also true.
John Jones took you down, and he was a JUCO champion.
And it's kind of also like, you know,
God, I'm fired up.
You got to look at starting point and resources as well. When it comes down to it, it's like Nate has overperformed for what should be expected of him, considering that he got into it later in his like teenage years, didn't have a high school or college wrestling background, was pretty much like a street kid, and only went to the gym because his brother would buy him a burrito, or one of the guys at the gym would buy him a burrito afterwards. He said that had so little food at home. And I'm not saying DC was privileged. I don't believe anybody's really privileged. We all have our own issues and struggles. But what I am saying is DC had a much earlier start in the sport of wrestling, and he had a later start into the sport of MMA.
Yes, and he's using that as an excuse where it's like, yeah, but what's your excuse for when you lost wrestling matches when you were young? That you didn't know enough? Okay, that's Nate Diaz's excuse when he lost when he was 21, 22, 23. Shut the fuck up. Like, I love DC. I love Nate Diaz. But the fact of the matter is you're comparing Nate Diaz's chosen sport to the sport that you got bounced out of your sport and came over, had a little bit of success and said, yeah, I lost to 2 guys. Okay, cool. You lost to 2 guys in MMA. How many guys did you lose to in wrestling? Guarantee it's more than fucking 11. Okay, yeah. I guarantee that.
Let's not pretend that while John Jones was out, DC didn't get some spoon-fed matchups that he himself will even agree to. He will say, like, yeah, they give me Volkan Ozdemir and Derek Lewis in title fucking fights. Like, those are like, okay, yeah, you didn't lose those fights. Congratulations. Lots of people didn't lose those fights. It's fucking
yeah.
So
clip that, send it to DC. Have him.
Nothing but love for DC.
I love DC. I love DC. I get
a little defensive. I get a little protective about Nate. I get very protective when it comes to the Diaz. Nick and Nate. I mean, I could cry talking about the love I have for the Diaz brothers, and the Nick Diaz is like identical right now to Bam Margera, like, but without the redemption arc that Bam's on right now. You know what I mean? Nick is where Bam was like 4 years ago. You know what I mean? And like, he needs to get away from those people that he's around, and he needs to get back to just hanging out with his brother. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really need friends when you got a brother. You know what I mean? You got
amen, brother.
Amen.
Yeah. We're sneaking into Izzy's room tonight, and we're gonna prank him right before he fights Joe Pife.
Yeah, like dude,
that might be one of my best impressions. Yeah. Of Bam whispering, laughing, about to go. I can't do a regular Bam. I can only do him in front of the camera, right outside of Ape and Phil's room, about to prank the fuck out of them.
So, I still think DC was like nice and like thoughtful with his response in terms of
No,
like,
the most recent one, he was like, "I'm done being nice, Nate." If
but
you
no, but
wanna come up,
he just listed the guys. He said, "You have fucking 13 losses. You're average." Like I respect that opinion from a guy who has like a high. DC applies this across the board. Remember when they were on the weigh-in show and they were like, Jim Miller should be in the Hall of Fame? He's like, no, he should not. They're like, he's got more wins than anybody. He's like, doesn't matter. You can't. He's like, we don't give out participation trophies. You don't get time served. If anybody fights that long, they're gonna. It's like, well, DC. I mean, like, if not him, then who? Like, Derek Lewis should be in the Hall of Fame. He has the most knockouts. Charles Oliveira should be in the Hall of Fame. He has the most submissions. If you have the most of something that is the most important thing, winning, knocking people out, and submitting people in that order, those are the most important things.
yeah.
Those are the three most important things. You don't get if you have the most decision wins, you should be ridiculed. And you know what's funny? I got to say this before we break down the card. I said to ChatGPT after the Terrence McKinney fight, I was like, he's never been to a decision. I wonder who else has never been to a decision in their entire UFC career. I asked ChatGPT and it spit out some examples. And it said something in there, goes, but it gives me this little fucking editorial, like, but it's important to remember that even elite finishers like Khabib Nurmagomedov still had a lot of decision wins. And I go, hold up. Khabib Nurmagomedov is not an elite finisher. Nobody would say that. You're a casual. And then he goes, no, he is an elite finisher. And I go, okay, how many decision wins does he have? And how many? And it was like he had 60% decision wins in the UFC. And I go, yeah,
more than that in the UFC.
It's like
UFC,
more than half.
A lot more than 60%.
No, it's more than half. It's like 60s, a little bit more than half. I go, okay, so if he had if more times than not, he went to decision. He's not a fucking elite finisher. I'm like, I can pull it up. I mean, I can pull up the chat. It's hilarious. And I got the AI to admit that he was an average finisher. I'm like, you called him an elite finisher. I just want to make that clear. I'm like, he is at best an average finisher. And it was like, you're right. I was wrong for that. So now you guys go ask your ChatGPT if Khabib is an elite finisher. See if it learned from mine.
Well, actually, Luke, he does have more than 50% finishes in the UFC. He has 7 finishes and six decisions in the UFC.
Maybe ChatGPT was maybe I didn't log in.
ChatGPT is fucking stupid, bro. Like, I don't know why you're still why you're still talking to that clanker. Get that thing out of here, okay? But I do have something to say about I touched on all the key components I wanted to, but there's one that I need to bring up, and that's Joe Pyfer in his post-fight speech talking about, I'm not going to mention exactly what he was talking about, but, everybody sits there and they're like, oh, man, that's so sad. Joe Pyfer had a little case of the Saddy Waddies a couple weeks ago and, was really close to doing something irreversible. And then he comes into the post-fight press conference and he's like, yeah, I had problems with lust. You're fucking stupid. And then you find a Reddit post from 8 months ago like, yo, dude, fucking Joe Pyfer's banging a girl on my floor. I saw him walking her dog last week. 8 months ago. So
right, this was he said this was 2 weeks ago that he had this epiphany.
Yeah. So you're cheating on your girlfriend for 8 months in a row, and you get caught, and then you take the teenage girl way out, which is, if you leave me, I'm gonna fucking die. Like, that is the literal lamest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. Be a man and cheat on your girlfriend and don't tell her, or be an even bigger man and don't cheat on your girlfriend at all. That is the fact of the matter. Don't make your fucking vices your bitch's problem. Okay.
Bro, I couldn't agree more in the sense that, okay, no woman wants to be cheated on, obviously, but I know plenty of women who would rather never know about it if it does happen. I know plenty of women who understand that men are animals, and it's like, yeah, like, I mean, I obviously don't want you to do that, but if you did that and told me, I'd be so fucking sad. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of these guys, like, they cheat on their girlfriend, they feel bad, so they confess, thinking that it'll make them feel better or whatever.
What do you think this is? Confession?
Dude, Be a man and live with the fucking guilt. You take that shit to the grave and you eat it and you live with it every fucking day if you need to, but you protect her by being like, yeah, like, I'm a man, that was a mistake, I'll never do it again. But I'm not gonna ruin her day by telling her. Furthermore, if you do tell her, let her leave. You said it. You're a bad guy. You did this bad thing. She deserves somebody better. And what did they always say? If you love something, let it go. If it returns, it's yours. If it doesn't, it never was yours to begin with. So it's like,
if it returns, it was meant to be. Not that it is now your custody.
But it's like, first of all, it's like, yeah, she deserves someone better. If you really loved her, you would let her have that instead of absolutely guilt tripping her and being like, oh, I'm gonna jump on her. It's like, okay, so now she's got to worry about that on top of this. Like, now she's sitting there going, Jesus, it's not enough that I got cheated on. Now the guy I love is threatening self-harm. This is like a real bad week. You know what I mean? And so my point is,
aren't you embarrassed?
and by the way, let me say this. We've had our issues with Joe Pfeiffer. You know, he's supposed to do the show. He was bad at scheduling. We have personal connections to Joe Pfeiffer. I love Joe Pfeiffer, but I'm hoping that he is a changed man and realizes, like, oh, I kind of screwed Luke a few times by telling him I do the show and then not doing it. And you know, I should go back there and correct that and do the show and lift them up because hey, been a Catholic, been believing in God.
Shout out to Uncle Joey Luke. Cut it out, okay? Because at the end of the day, the only reason he stopped coming on the podcast is because within the 4 days that he fucking said, oh, yeah, I'll do that, Dana White said, if you want to be somebody, be like Joe Pfeiffer, okay? Yeah. And then all of a sudden his phone's blowing up this way, that way, this way, that way. And then he doesn't have time for the little guys. Whatever. I don't care if you're a changed man. What's the worst you're going to do, Joe? Beat me up? You're going to beat me up? Oh, okay, cool. Tough guy. What you want to beat up little old me? You don't get enough satisfaction from cheating on your girlfriend and beating up UFC fighters that you have to just beat up some, you know, like as the comedians say, some civilian. You got to beat me up? Okay, Joe. Okay, well, that makes you feel like a big man.
I had this exact same take when the skier said this shit. I looked at my wife. I go, like, now the whole world knows he cheated on her. Like, would you want that if that happened? Would you want me to go on national TV and let everybody know, like, okay, reverse the situation. Imagine your girl, which you cannot reverse the situation because there is a double standard. Men and women are different. Sorry. But if your girl cheated on you and you broke up with her and she begged for you back and you got her back and you took her back and then she goes on TV and goes, I just want everybody to know I cheated on Luke.
I just want everybody to know I'm an absolute whore.
I was in the streets and Luke, he took me back. So props to Luke. Everybody would be like all the guys at least would be like, hey Luke, cool.
Hey, I didn't tell my parents that you cheated on me.
Yeah. Like, hey, by the way, thanks. Like, this is awkward. I'm getting calls from my fucking aunt who's 90.
My brother now wants to take you out back with a shovel.
Yeah, there's people in my life who are a little bit old school and aren't into like, you know, that sort of thing. And they don't think you're like a bigger man for doing that. They think I'm embarrassed and you've embarrassed me.
Bring up that Will C. Wagers comment right this second. Bingo. Some people aura farm like me, you know what I mean? Like I sit here with my Valorant knife, like I twirl this shit around, you know. Shout out to my fiance who bought this for me, who I would never cheat on. And if I ever were to, I'd never admit it. Jokes. But you know, she got me this cool little knife here. I aura farm. Some people want to sympathy farm and get everybody like, oh yeah, dude. Men need to talk more, lad. Don't talk anymore. No more talking, men. We gotta shut the fuck up. Be like the men of old. Be like whatever happened to the Gary Colemans, the short, silent type. We need to be more like Gary Coleman, okay? He's the guy who said, I pity the fool, right? I don't know. I don't know anything. But yeah, it's all super lame. Nothing I can condone. Nothing I can support. Don't cheat on your girlfriend. You know, I would never cheat on a woman ever. in my life. But if I did, I wouldn't admit to it. So I guess we're in a paradoxical situation here where I'll let the viewer decide. But at the end of the day, super, super lame. Don't bring it up. Don't bring other people into your fucking drama. You know, if I get into a fight with my fiance, my future wife, I'm not calling Luke and saying, oh, my girl is such a bitch. We were just fighting and it was so traumatic. That's fucking lame, dog.
You've done that. You've done that.
No, I haven't. I never have. I never will. I never have. I never will. That's bullshit. You don't bring your dirty laundry to other people's homes. Fact.
Okay.
If you get in a fight with your wife at somebody else's house, that's different. Okay.
That's not even okay. So I think Will C's on to something, which is basically to say that, like,
what
when
are you doing? A dollar bill?
Don't worry about what I'm doing.
I gotta know what you're doing with your hands. You
It's a
gotta show
magic.
me your hands where I
put
can.
something in my wallet. I was putting something in my wallet. So, all is forgiven with Joe, with me, but I've been saying this since that skier guy came out, which is just like, guys, chill out a little bit. Also, like, you know, when you're a man, you have a 24-hour refractory period. You know what that means? It means you're ovulating every day. Okay, it's a lot. You're up against a lot. You know what I mean? And I'm monogamous, but I'm just gonna say that when you are a guy and you're crying about something that you did, maybe just like chill out. You know what I mean? Hey Joe, here's an idea. Be a young professional athlete and don't have a girlfriend. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Joe, hey Joe, maybe you should just enjoy your life the way that you want to.
You think Lou Williams, you know who Lou Williams is, right, Luke? Six men like Lou Will.
Six men like Lou Will.
Yeah, exactly.
Two girls like Lou Will.
Two girls like Lou Will. You think if Lou Will's girl starts chucking that jive at him, talking about, oh, I saw you were at the club with another lady. What does he say? Shut up. You either have to have that mentality.
No, but the whole line is, got two girls and they both get along just like Lou Will, because he had two girlfriends and they both got along. That's
super fly. He is super fly. So he can do that. But Joe Pfeiffer, you know, I know that you got mad at the guy for complimenting your hairline. So I'm sure you're going to, if this ever surfaces to you, you're going to get super upset and super mad. Unless you are really.
All we're saying is we're happy that you are in love. And if any of my best friends were as deeply in love as you, I would make fun of them too. Personally, I've had a lot of best friends. I find love to be like annoying in a lot of ways. Like, I think that love should never get in the way of being a man. Like, if you're a grown man, and perfect example, if you're a grown man and you don't love your wife, but you have kids with your wife, suck it up. Like, there's more important things than your romantic feelings. There's more important things than, like, you're a man and you're out here like, I just want to find love. It's like, fucking find a hobby. Find
what
a
are you, fucking Juliet?
Go to work. Go to fucking work, dude. Go to work. Like, that's not for you, dude. Like, you go work on a car. Go fucking find a hobby. Just like twiddle your thumbs, but before you're out here, like especially when you've had love. If you're on Love on the Spectrum, my favorite show in the world, and you've never been on a first date, and you're like, I really want to find love, more power to you. Find love, my brother. Like, find love and hold on to it tight. But if you've been lucky enough on this earth to have had somebody that you loved at one point, you're luckier than 99% of the planet. You know what I mean? You're luckier than, there's some people that will go birth to grave, never getting a kiss and never having somebody tell them that they love them and mean it, never having children. If you're lucky enough to have that,
yeah, watch Fish Tank. You'll see a lot of those guys.
If you're lucky enough to have that once, then like, you're lucky, and you don't need to like do it again. You know what I mean? You should just let her go, move on, and be a famous rich cage fighter. Do that, like, you know.
Yeah.
Or do it better the next time, but don't sit there and try to like imagine.
I'm glad I got this off my chest.
You do all of that, groveling, apologizing, and honoring of this woman that you want to marry, right? What happens when like she's on your ass about not doing the dishes in 5 weeks? You keep that same energy? You keeping that same energy? Because like you got a lot of making up to do, it would seem. Her being like a bitch once a month for 5 days better be easy to handle for you. Because she handled you cheating on her and embarrassing her on national television. So from here on, you have to be like perfect in terms of handling what she's got thrown at you. And that's what a relationship is. It's, can I be a stoic and handle my wife when she's at her worst and is actually being unfair to me? Like people think like, oh, it's like, guys, there's going to be sometimes where your wife is just wrong and mean to you for like no reason at all. And if you haven't cheated on her, you can be like, if you haven't cheated on her and embarrassed her, you could be like, yo, check your attitude. What the fuck's wrong with you? You're acting fucking crazy right now. If I think, and that's what love is to me.
Dude, you don't even know the half of that. You don't even know half of that. You're not with a Latina mommy.
And by the way, you can dig yourself deep. Like all that's going to do is make it worse and dig yourself into a hole that now you're apologizing. You know what I mean? So definitely don't do that. But I'm just saying, at least you have license to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you talking to me like that? Like, oh, I do nothing. You have at least license. But if you don't have that license anymore, if that license has been revoked because you're a felon cheater or whatever, then your wife can just like kick you around all the time. What are you going to say? Fucking cheated on me. What are you going to say?
Shit. You can't say shit.
Back. You were such a mess.
You literally begged to just get like 3 to 6 months, and then Verhoofy, you begged for somebody back who's just going to be like, oh, now he's like my slave in a way. Like now
that's how I would look at it. If I was a woman, I'd be like, yo, you better never give me any shit about anything. Forever.
Oh yeah. Oh
like,
yeah.
You're living an apology. You're living an apology forever. You know what I mean?
Next time you're like, yeah, I don't think you should go to the club. And she's like, yeah, I don't think you should go next door. I can't even trust you to go on our floor in our apartment building. You're in here or you're at training. And that's it, chief.
Yeah. And if you're a chick and you get cheated on and they're going through it emotionally, don't let them prevent you from going and getting something on the side while you're in the interim of this relationship temporarily. Like, even if you're still talking to them, that's why guys are saying this stuff like, oh, I'm gonna self-harm. It's like, yeah, that's because they don't want you to go do what they did justifiably. You know what I mean? Because they're keeping you in an emotional prison. They're keeping you in an emotional prison. They're actually dominating you from the other side by being like, making you feel bad about doing something. You're broken up. Go have fun, bro.
It's called like
go to Nashville. Go to Nashville. There's cowboys there. Even the short ones got boots on. Everyone's tall in Nashville. Go dancing, make out with a guy, put it on your Snapchat story, make him fucking see that. So that but he won't let you do that. He's gonna be like, if you do that, I don't know. It's like, why? How do you think I felt? Fucking idiot. We're broken up. I'm doing whatever the fuck I want.
Manipulation is going to go so many different ways where you know, as Joe, what to do to get her to not do whatever you want her to do. And she knows what to do to you to make sure she gets you to not do whatever she wants you to do. Just cut it off amicably.
Pain's gotta go deeper. If you do that to your girl, then and you want her to believe you're not gonna do it again, she's probably got to hurt you pretty bad for you to never want to experience that again. Because clearly you're a dog, right? Like you're a male dog just running around
walking other people's dogs.
You're unable to control yourself, and that's how you got in this position. So what needs to Pavlovianly happen for this never to happen again? It is, you got to be like, you know, if the girl just takes you back for that, then it's like, oh, I guess I really can get away. I guess I really am a god. You know, it's like, I can do whatever I want with no consequence. So you have to be like, no, she's out with my training partner. No, like that. You have to be that upset in order for you to be like, okay. Please, just take it back. Just don't do that. Just don't do that. Please, not him. Anybody but him.
Or just O'Malley the situation entirely and be like, at least have it be somebody that you like instead of like some guy who's gonna be putting his fucking boots on your coffee table. Like,
foods on your golf tip. Anyway, boys, I can't believe Lizzie lost. Verve, you're gonna have to rewind because at the end of the day, I won $5,000. My parlays ended with Joe Pfeiffer by knockout. Even casual Adam said, and I put this on the Instagram story, Joe Pfeiffer is free money at plus odds. This is crazy. And I know I picked Izzy on the show last week, but if you follow me,
put Willie C's last comment on too, because we need to let people know that there are some brothers out there who think the same way. You know, like,
I don't even think it's not even like up for debate. It's just like, okay, do you know women butt at all? Like, they definitely don't like to have their heart broken and then, you know, have you tell everybody in the whole world. 5K on UFC, another 1,000 the next day on NASCAR. Chase Elliott, my man, son of Bill Elliott.
Hell hath no wrath as a woman scorn.
Dude, can I just tell you real quick?
Like that.
When you bet on a NASCAR driver and he wins the race, sick feeling. He didn't just beat one guy like in a UFC fight. He beat a pool of 30-something guys.
Yeah, because you're sitting there gooning for 500 laps, waiting for
No,
it to happen.
That's the worst part because it's like kind of like with the Michigan-Alabama game when Alabama was leading by like 2 points at the half. You're like, this is worse than if they were just losing at the half because now it's like they got to maintain this and I like actually have a shot. Like you'll have a NASCAR driver and
Rico had a completely different perspective on it. He was like, at least I felt like I was in it for a little bit. If they just got blown out, I would have been so pissed the entire time. I'm like, nah, bro, I'd be like, like I would have rather them get blown out. Like,
yeah,
if I'm
I'd rather never have had a shot.
I want to lose. I want to lose outright and be like, yeah, I'm an idiot.
If I'm Rico, I would have looked at him at halftime and I'd be like, what's the cash out?
That would have been good. That would have been.
I'd be like, what's the cash out? Okay. How about no
5 or a 50% increase on my salary for 5 years,
or no contract, still year to year, but you double my salary. That's the cash out. But the thing is, Rico was always outgunned. He was always outgunned because the money means very little to Dave, and Rico, in Dave's mind, probably already deserves a raise and a 10-year contract. But you know what I mean? So it's like it means nothing. I like where so. Verhoeft, you got to rewind at some point. Check out the win. It was good. I'm not going to recap it again. We got a lot of show to break down. We got a lot of show to get through. So let's get into it. I think we've said all that needs to be said. Joe is cool in my book. The thing is, when you win money on guys, even like Chiesa, you kind of just got to go, all right. All is for, hey, Chiesa, at least you got this one right. Chiesa by submission. At least it happened in a minute. You got it done for me in a minute.
Fuck that. I was pissed before the fight happened. I knew that was what was going to happen.
Why didn't you bet $1 million on it then if you knew it was going to happen? I knew it was going to happen.
Because I don't got no $1 million. Okay.
You should have, I say this every week, you should have overdrafted your bank account. Overdraft your bank account via Venmo. Put it back via direct deposit. It'll be back before it's even gone. Temporarily, you'll have the money. You'll have all the money. You know what I mean? I could get... If I wanted
to put these guys on to some free game to be even more degenerates.
Free game, bet responsibly, never do this. But at the end of the day, if I needed to get across the country, if I needed to get across the border and escape, and I needed like 10K, I could extract 10K via overdrafting my bank account through the Venmo loophole, I call it. And if I did that over a weekend, I could get it out before Monday, and I could be gone. But I'd have to be willing to never have a relationship with Chase Bank ever again. I'd have to really need the money, and it'd be the last 10K of me to start my off the grid life.
There's a ton of banks out there, Luke. There's a ton of banks out there. Okay, you screw Peter to rob Paul. I don't know.
This is all entertainment purposes only, and I'm just kidding about all of this, obviously. But you
rob Peter to pay Paul. What is that line?
Yeah, you said it. All right, so. So it's been a great weekend. I already got a couple bets out on this card this weekend. I did it with a hot hand, so I'll let you know what those parlays are as we go. But you can always find my bets, my change of minds, the bets I make on bet night in the open bet sheet, patreon.com/PepperParlayPursuit. That's where I have the open bet sheet. That's where you would have seen my parlays. I'll show it to you guys real quick. Let's do that before we start the show, just so you can see what I do for the people. How do I share my screen? What the fuck? Oh, here we go. Can you see this, Alex?
I see it.
So this is what I lost. These are the bets that I lost. Ignore that. But this, it's like I moved them into the graveyard as they lose. So like for this one, Fernandez killed that one. And then And then
While you're doing this, I have to make. I'll be
go ahead,
right back.
do your thing. And then, here I just have these are the fights listed out. This is the wager that I made. I try to keep track of like how much I've lost and how much I have out and stuff as parlays lose. So I have like a running tally of like what, like over here, like usually I'll put like wagers out, right? And then this one will be like losses. This one will be like wins. And I'll balance that as I go. So I'm like, all right, if I have 350 out, so I know I have a potential to lose another 350. The losses are at 100. So right now I'm at risk of losing 450. But then as I win bets, I'll zero out the losses. And if I'm ahead of the game, if I have more wins like earlier in the night, then I do wagers out. Then I know I'm in a position where it's like I'm going to win money no matter what. But ultimately, it's like I put the whip amount that I wagered. These ended up getting voided down to like less money because of the Simone draw. But this is how it all kind of ended up by the end of the night. So I posted this before the fight starts. I update it as I go, unless I'm like away from console, unless I'm like at a wedding or something like that, or like I fall asleep, or I don't know. I mean, it's rare that I don't update this pretty meticulously. There are sometimes that with the kids and with the hanging out and stuff, I don't get to putting these in until right before the event begins. But I am pretty anal about it, and I do try my best to put everything I got going on in here, even up to the minute. Like because I use this to track myself as the night goes. So even if like a fight's right about to start, like if you're betting with me, throw this up on your laptop while the fights are happening. You'll see me update it live. Like for example, if I want to throw like a solo bet in at some point, like I threw price by knockout, 13-1. I was like, you know what? I like fuck it. Like I'm gonna win money if Piper wins. I'm just gonna throw 100 on price by knockout. And I put that in live, like as I was, as right before the fight, because I did it right before the fight happened, right? So even shit like that, you'll see that I make my best effort to keep this as up to date as possible. And if you tailed, you'd be in the profit this night. If you tail other nights, you'd be fucking down with me. But at the end of the day, mix and match them. Do your own little combinations of what you like and what I like. Do whatever you want, right? Cash out, hedge, all that stuff. 7 watching should have 7 likes. Thank you. Well, we'll see wagers. I'm assuming you have your own sort of gambling account, whether it's an Instagram or something like that. Why don't you throw that in the comments? I'll throw that up on the screen. And guys, like the video, but share the video, get it out there to different communities, and let's have a lot of fun breaking down this card. So UFC Fight Night, UFC Vegas 115, UFC at the Apex. Hanato Moicano taking on Chris Duncan. A lot of people are saying this is a really shitty card. I'm not too worried about it. I'm coming off a big high. I thought it was a break week with Easter Sunday. I thought it was a break week this week. So we'll break this down. We'll find some spots. I already have, I think, about 6 spots I like, and I've parlayed them, and I've done a little 3-leg parlay with some of the winnings from last weekend. So I'm going to be taking this light, taking this easy. I'm going to Vegas on Thursday of next week. So a week from today, I'll be in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm going to preserve my bankroll, preserve my winnings so that I can have fun with my bros, have fun playing table games, and also bet on Yuri versus Olberg that Saturday when I'm in Vegas. So going to be a lot of fun. Let me know if you are in the Vegas area or you have some Vegas tips, some places I need to go, can't miss places, things I should avoid, all that jazz. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any Vegas advice. Okay, so it looks like we are going to start the night off with a UFC newcomer, Dakota Hope, taking on Kai Kamaka III. Dakota Hope says he's fighting out of Thailand. Kai Kamaka, obviously a Hawaiian, and he was in the UFC.
Kaya Kaliki Maka?
That's a very Hawaiian way to say Merry Christmas, my man. Kai got bounced out of the UFC, went on this run in various promotions, has recently put 3 wins and 1 loss across his last 4 in the last year. Got himself back in the UFC here. It looks like there was Jung Young Park was supposed to be on this card. Radke versus Henrique was supposed to be on this card. Tofik Musayev was supposed to be on this card. He fought last weekend. I don't know. Interesting that they're bringing Kai Kamaka back. Interesting that they're bringing Dakota Hope in. I like Dakota Hope here. I think Kai Kamaka probably won't get knocked out. Actually, you know what? I think that if Dakota Hope's path is victory is by knockout, I almost feel like Kai Kamaka is going to decision him here, because at the end of the day, I think it's really hard to knock out Hawaiian guys. Max Holloway had the most strikes absorbed in UFC history and was never even dropped until he fought Ilia Topuria, who's obviously a big outlier. It's not typical that you see guys from the oceanic region, the Polynesian warrior type of fighter is just that, a Polynesian warrior. They are able to fight, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go with Kai Kamaka here.
Throw up for Hoofty's second to the last comment, just because this isn't even as much of a gambling show. Like, I appreciate that you're just here for the entertainment here, brother. That makes you even more valuable.
Gambling is the scaffolding that the show that connects the tissue of the show, which is more of a situational comedy than anything. But thank you. Yes, 100%. I wish that every dollar I ever put into my sports betting account, I instead invested, and I would be. It makes me sick to my stomach. It makes me sick to my stomach. I'm just in too deep now. I need one last score. I need to get one last score, and then you'll never see me again. You know what I mean?
It's like that jacked tan dude always says. It's like you should never quit gambling, because you're either on a heater and you need to feed the high hand, or you're on a you're due. It's either you're due or you're hot. There's one of the two, and you should never quit during either of them, and especially if you're due, because that payday is coming, brother. You ever see the meme of the guy with the pickaxe and he quits just before he hits the diamonds? That's what happens to 99% of gamblers who quit.
Somewhere out there is somebody 10 times dumber than you getting 10 times richer because they're too stupid to quit gambling. That's my favorite.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I envision a Kingpin-esque scenario where, like, at the end of Kingpin, where he just says, and this check's only getting split one way. One of my favorite scenes from any movie. And that's how I see it. $150,000 gambling win to make it all back and then some. And I look at Alex and I look at Dan and I say, and this check's only getting split one way. And then you don't see me for a while.
And then just when you thought you were out,
thought I was out,
they
pull me back in.
That is crazy. Now that you mentioned,
babe. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Huh? Now that Luke mentioned that, like, I must bring it to light. Like, Dan said if he won $1 million, he wouldn't even give Luke and I a dime, which is insane. We always like split each other off a little crumbs every now and then. I mean, mostly Luke. Luke will split anybody off crumbs if something happens. But Dan was like, no, I'm not doing that. No, never. Hilarious. I'm going with Dakota Hope here. Although Kai Kamaka is very formidable. I mean, he beat Bubba Jenkins once. So even if this guy was trying to take him down, I mean, if Bubba Jenkins can't get you down and you can win a decision against Bubba Jenkins, like, I respect the fuck out of Bubba Jenkins. So
I'm telling you, it's Kai Kamaka, because he trains with Eric Nixick. This other guy's just going to try to knock him out. He's not going to get there. He's going to have UFC jitters. This is in the Apex. It's in Vegas. Kai Kamaka is right at home. He's going to decision him. He's going to jab him. He's going to get takedowns. He's going to stall him. He's going to tire him out. This guy's not used to the UFC bright lights. It's Kai Kamaka.
Yeah, they do say that, Las Vegas is the 9th island or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think you are right, actually, because I don't recognize a single name on Dakota Hope's record. But I just got a feeling. That he's going to push the pace. Kai Kamaka ain't going for no takedowns. This guy's a knockout artist. He's going to land the more thudding strikes. And he's pretty well rounded on top of that. So give me Dakota Hope. First fight of the night. We can do whatever with this, and we'll still have room to play. Obviously, like Luke said, we're going to be in Vegas next week. I'm at least not putting my whole life on this card. I'm not going life or death this card. I know I got to keep some bullets in the chamber for next week. So I'm definitely gonna play light, but you're right. I'm gonna go Kai Kamaka the third.
All right, and then next we got Melissa Gatto taking on Dion the Witch Barbosa. This fight to me is interesting. I have Gatto in a 6-leg parlay already as a slight underdog, and the reason is I'm choosing to believe the best. I'm choosing to believe that she was gone for a while and got better and is hungrier and wants to perform and wants to compete. And she's going to catch Barbosa slipping a little bit in terms of like expectation, and Barbosa will find herself in a fight with a more formidable opponent than maybe she imagined. But ultimately, that could completely not be the case. It could be Gatto is less interested than ever, took all this time off, and wants a paycheck and wants to fight under contract and has the opportunity to do so, is going to take it. Barbosa could come in all piss and vinegar and just steamroller, right? So I'm going with Gatto, but lady fight early in the card, not really something I'm super interested in. Hoping it's the start of my 6-leg parlay. If I get that early underdog women's dog or pass kind of, bump, then that's great. If not, I'll rebuild the parlay as a 5-leg. Like, not too worried about it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Oppo on this one. I'm gonna go with Dion Barbosa here. I know that Melissa Gatto beat the likes of like Sarge Eubanks on the tail end of her career, and some other decent names. But you look at the people that Dion Barbosa lost to, it's Karen Silva, which she also has a win over Karen Silva, Josie Nunes, the outlaw, and Miranda Maverick, who I have a ton of respect for. I don't know much about this Jenna Bishop lady, but I'm going with Dion Barbosa. I just think that's where your money's the safest. Melissa Gatto, I feel like she's more of a striker, unless I'm getting her confused with another lady.
Ariane Lipitsky.
She does look similar to Ariane Lipitsky. She's got some veins in those muscles, though. If you look at her Tapology page, she's Spider-Man'd out. Yeah, I'm still gonna go with Dion Barbosa. Luke once told me that as women get older, they get more testosterone. So I'm going with Dion Barbosa. Bro right. Science.
We got Azamat Bokayev versus Tresean Gore. Tresean Gore, a 2-fight losing streak, lost to Marco Tulio by knockout, lost to Adolfo Vieira by decision, beat Antonio Tricoli and Josh Frem before that. He's 5-4 total, his whole record, 5-4. Meanwhile, Azamat Bokayev 5 months ago got knocked out by Yusri Belgarul.
Pull up the last comment, please, for the love of God.
We did. I sent that to Alex. That was one of those Instagram videos I watched that I had to take to an actual text. Like, I had to be like, this isn't just in your inbox. Like, you need to watch this, like, right now. So I sent that to Alex. That was the fucking craziest shit I've ever seen. That was insane. You guys got to watch that.
I can't even believe that Deontay Wilder can say spina bifida. I can barely say it myself. That's insane. Crazy. That is crazy. You gotta check it out. Deontay Wilder, for the love of God, like, I hope he gets a win just because he is the most entertaining boxer to ever live. He is so fun to watch from afar. He's my favorite boxer now. I was rooting for Tyson Fury hard back in the day. Because Tyson Fury used to be pretty fun himself. But, dude, Deontay Wilder, like, he gives you all what your money's worth every single time he steps into the squared circle.
I mean, I still love his video where he's recording himself and he's talking about how Tyson Fury cheated him and hit him with something the size and the shape of an egg weight. And that's why my head swelled up in the egg weight form. I literally I have the whole thing. I typed the entire speech he gave out because it was poetry, and I used to read it to myself, and I want to memorize it, the entire thing. You know what I mean? And maybe I'll do it.
That is the delusion you need as a fighter, though. But who knows? Tyson Fury is a gypsy. They are, cheaters, liars, thieves.
All right, so Bakayev versus Gore. I'm going with Bakayev. It's unbettable. I'm not taking it at all on any bets. Minus 550 is too rich, but I don't see Trayshawn Gore beating him. But Trayshawn Gore is better than people think. Just not plus 75 better than people, not plus 375 better than people think. He's more like plus 600 better than people think. Like if he was like plus 500, plus 600, then I'd be like, all right, this is getting a little ridiculous. I mean, Trayshawn Gore like could win this. Like his fight that he lost to Marco Tulio, one of the best fights you'll fucking ever watch. Like he rocked Tulio, Tulio rocked him. They both dropped each other. It was like a fucking blood and guts war. Like they should have got a performance of the night bonus. Great fight. Watch that fight. But and I think Trayshawn Gore had many ways out of that fight and didn't take them. So I like
His
that.
mom lost her foot.
Really?
How you remember that, right?
Poor girl. Poor
That
girl.
was when I think he was fighting Josh Fremd. He was on a crazy losing streak, and he was like, "My mom lost her foot. I knew I had to come out here and put on a show," or something like that.
Yeah, I hear him. All right, so who do you got?
I'm going with Bakayev just because you gotta take these the red, white, and blue in another way. Sure, he lost to usury third round knockout, but he beat the shit out of Ryan Loder. He beat the shit out of Zach Reese, who even Michelle Pierre, who might suck, like he's on fraud alert. Struggled with Zach Reese. I'm going with Trayshawn Gore.
All right, next we got Haley Cowan.
Or no, not Trayshawn Gore. Sorry. I'm going with Bakayev.
All right, next we got Haley Cowan versus Alice Pereira. Alice Pereira, not Alex Pereira's sister, by the way. I do have her in that 6-leg parlay. I did for a second think, oh shit, Alex Pereira's sister's fighting, and that's why I just
No, she's fighting on Netflix.
Yes. So, but either way, I think she's 14 years younger than Haley Cowan. I think that she is going to beat Haley Cowan. The fact that this is a pick'em is crazy to me because Haley Cowan lost her last 2 fights against not really that great competition. Jamie Lynn Horth 2-3 years ago and Nora Cornioli 11 months ago. So for me, I'm going to take Alice Pereira. Not much else to say.
Yeah, I mean, the competition that she lost to is pretty good. Like, I have a lot of respect for Jamie Lynn Horth. And
she's old. Jamie Lynn Horth's a little old.
But more testosterone. And she's got a lot of size on these ladies. And on top of that, I mean, Cowan was the one who missed weight. That's kind of crazy. She was short notice, I believe. But I like Nora Cornholio too. Like she hasn't had the best outings in her last 2 fights, but she's fought against Carol Rosa and Jocelyn Edwards, who I also have a lot of respect for when it comes to these lady fights. I don't know why I'm doing the Michael Bisping thing. I don't have fake teeth. Why am I going So, I mean, I'm going with Pierre just based off the fact that like Haley Cowan probably still dresses up as Harley Quinn for Halloween every year. Like that's played out. Harley Quinn is out in with the new, be like K-pop Demon Hunter or something this year. You could probably pull it off. Give me Pierre.
Next, we got Lando Venata versus Darius Flowers. Lando Venata fighting for the first time in the UFC it's been 3 years since he lost to Daniel Zellhuber. Before that,
well, Luke, I think that's because he was making a lot of jokes. I think he hasn't been fighting because he's making a lot of jokes. He's like, yeah, I had 7 fights that were that
was funny. That was hysterical. He's like, I've been offered to take a dive 7 times in the UFC. But let my record show that my integrity is rock solid. No, that was funny. I think people got way too mad for no reason about that. But he, his only wins against Mike Grundy by split decision. Hasn't won a fight in 5 years. Hasn't really put 3 fights together. He's fought 3 times in 5 years. Hasn't fought in 3 years. But even when he fought 3 years ago, he hadn't fought in a year before that. And even when he fought then, he hadn't fought in, a year before that. So he's not putting up enough activity. He's 34 years old. He's a great striker, but I think Darius Flowers is going to get him to the ground and control him and possibly submit him. And I think The cardio is going to be a problem for Venata. He's going to get shocked into exhaustion. So give me Darius Flowers. I got him on that 6-leg parlay and also on a 3-leg parlay.
Darius Flowers, correct me if I'm wrong, when he was fighting Jake Matthews on super, super short notice, a weight class up, he was the guy doing all the herky-jerky, faking being knocked out, and like a lot of ring veteranship in his performance against I feel like I've taken Darius Flowers in like every fight he's had. Which makes me like very hesitant to take him because he's 0-3 and he was cut and he's recently back on board. Don't know how he got cut and is brought back to life. I mean, even Tapology is saying he got cut by the UFC ages ago. I think I want to take Venata here. I don't love the odds. I feel like Darius Flowers, just looking at their body composition, like packs a bigger punch. And after seeing this is going to be an interesting fight because Lando Venata is, he says he's groovy, but he's more funky. He's a funky guy going in there. It will be who can master the funk. And I'll go with Lando Venata here. But believe me, if my perfect parlay is still intact after the first 4 fights, and I see Darius Flowers there as a dog, like I might throw a little change on Darius Flowers just to make sure I'm still intact after this, because I think he has a chance. He showed me a lot in that Matthews fight. He's a crafty vet, crafty vet.
All right. Next, we got Alessandro Nono Costa versus Stuart Nicole. Stuart Nicole coming off a loss to Lucas Rocha. Before that, Jesus Aguilar hasn't fought more than 3 times in the last 2 years. He was getting wins outside the UFC before he came in. Nono Costa got knocked out 6 months ago. Before that, beat Kevin Yorgas. Before that, lost to Steve Versay. Before that, knocked out Jimmy Flick. A lot of inactivity guys on this week's card. It's interesting. I think I'll go with Nono Costa here, but I think Stuart Nicole is pretty good. Definitely worth it to bet on him at this line. I think something to prove. No UFC wins yet, but only 2 losses in his career were in the UFC. So he previously, before getting into the UFC, winning mentality, a winner, like in all he ever really knew. Actually, you know what? I'm going with Stuart Nicole. Stuart Nicole by knockout. He's heavy-handed, and I think that Costa got knocked out 6 months ago. So I just talked myself into it. I'm going with Stuart Nicole.
Yeah, I was leaning Nicole this whole time. I can't be faithful with a minus 415 favorite that isn't like up to par with my standards. Like if you're a minus 415, you better be like 6-0 in the UFC, 3-0 in the UFC, all knockouts. Like you got to be somebody who's a little bit more of a stable pick to have a minus 415 favoritism your direction. I'm gonna go with Stu Nicole. I'm not in love with it. I'm not gonna put a bunch of money on it, but I'm taking Stu Nicole. Next up, we have Thomas Pedersen, Thomas the Tank Engine, choo choo, coming through for Guilherme Pat. I feel like that's backwards, but I digest. He beat Alan Fry Jr. UFC about 5 months ago or so on December 13th. Let me look up this Alan Fry fella real quick. Never a win in the UFC. Doesn't beat anybody that I recognize. He went all the way to a unanimous decision at heavyweight. Wow. I don't love these guys who are going to decision at heavyweight who, 90% of their wins in totality, or I guess a little less than that, before you came to the UFC, 80% of your wins were by knockout. Then you come to the UFC and fight a guy who wasn't even in the UFC, got his own chance in Alan Fry, and you couldn't knock him out. I want to go with Pedersen here, but he has shown some chinniness. but he's shown some gameness. I mean, it's heavyweight, guys. Like, you get knocked out at heavyweight, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. He's got some good wrestling. I think he's a Minnesota boy. I love Minnesota. Give me Thomas the Tank.
Me too. Yeah. I have Thomas the Tank on that 6-leg parlay. I'm going to go with Thomas the Tank. I think that he's got a lot to prove.
Why would he make his nickname Thomas the Train? Why wouldn't it be the Tank or the Tank Engine? Like, we get what you're looking at here.
Copyright.
You know?
Copyright.
Okay, Thomas Tank Engine. Remove the.
I think that's still Thomas the Train. It is. So, you know, Guillermo Pat, undefeated, you know, decision to Alvin Fry Jr., but has knockout power, obviously. I kind of just see him getting sucked to the floor a lot in this fight and losing out on his energy through the grappling exchanges with Pedersen. If Pedersen is smart, this also kind of feels like a situation where Pedersen could get knocked out hilariously because he has been by Shamel Gaziev, he has been by Victor Petrino. Guillermo Pat fits the bill. Like, he's got a long ass reach, 3 inches of height. If Peterson can't get him down, he's getting knocked out. I do have Peterson in the parlay, but I'm regretting it. It's a free bet. $50 bonus bet. Gatto, Alice Pereira, Darius Flowers, Thomas Pedersen so far. There's 2 legs left. We'll get to him, but I'm going to go with
Guillermo Pat. Like, he's a handsome ass dude. What the fuck is he doing fighting? He could be.
I think Guillermo Pat's going to knock him out, actually. I hope. Right. I mean, listen, I just told you guys I have him in a bet. Pedersen's a bet. It's a pick him for a reason. It's whoever can get their game plan implemented. But let's be real. Pedersen has to implement that game plan across a guy who we just saw, Belgaru, similar kind of build. You know, he's going to be taller than him. He's going to be longer than him. He's probably going to have some big ass calves. If he can't get him down for all 15 minutes, he's going to be at risk every time they're on the feet, I think. If Shamel Gaziev can knock you out, if Vitor Petrino can knock you out, Guillermo Pat can knock you out.
Shamel Gaziev?
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Guillermo Pat and by knockout.
Fair enough. Next up, we got Robert the Faker Ruchula versus Jose Delano. I'm going to go with, you guys know me. Nobody loves the Polish more than me. I think the Polish are great. I've always loved the Polish. That's just something about me. I mean, I know it takes, you know, an unlimited amount of Polish people to screw in a light bulb, but what they can do is fight. They're very good fighters. They have hard heads. They have hard hands.
I don't endorse that. I would love Polish citizenship, and I love the Polish people. I think they have a beautiful country. I think they're the only ones in all of Europe who actually have their heads on straight when it comes to how they run their country, their laws, the way that they support families. You know, in Poland, they give you money per kid that you have, not as a tax write-off. Like
I think they do that here too.
No, they pay you money for kids, not give you your money back that you already paid. And I think there's 0% income tax if you have 2 kids. Poland, income tax if you have kids. Yeah, as of early 2026, Poland has introduced 0 income tax for parents with 2 or more children, provided their annual income does not exceed 100. Okay, so I would actually have to pay income tax. How much is 140,000 Polish PLN, Polish nickels? Oh, fuck, dude. 140,000 Polish zloty is equal to 37,000 US dollars. So we're paying the tax.
So what the fuck did we buy those guys gloves for? No, they were Ukrainian immigrants. Sorry. I forgot.
So I could be, with $37,000, I could be in an income bracket so high for Poland that they don't give you this tax benefit, right? So let's ask the AI, what the fuck do you pay? What would you pay if you make?
Justin, what the fuck are you on about, brother? What the fuck are you on about? You got to pull that comment up, Luke. It's absolutely unhinged. Polish power, Polish dog. No, I'm not talking about that one. I'm not talking about that one.
Polish power, Polish dog at Wiener Schnitzel fast food.
Nope, I'm not talking about that one.
Oh, the only info I get you is from the tree high above your house when you leave for the day. When I sneak in your open window, you know. Justin, you're a psycho. I love a guy who has his first and last name as his YouTube channel and puts unhinged shit like that. And I'm assuming 83. Let's see, 8321. What's 8321? Were you born in 83? Were you born in 21? No, were you born in 1983? Were you 30? Is it your area? It can't be a zip code or an area code. I'm doing mentalist stuff. This is a mentalist.
Probably the last 4 digits of his phone number. The fact that he put his fucking first and last name on that. Yeah, I'm going with Ruchalala. I love fucking Poland. I love Polish people. I don't know what Luke was on about 2 seconds ago, and he was like, I disagree with everything you said. All I said was I love Polish people and Polish
it's auto-gen. It's auto-generated. Like it's like auto.
It's the last 4 of his social.
Oh, okay. YouTube. Yeah, no, that makes. He probably put in Justin Villegas. It said already taken, but try Justin Villegas 8321.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Where, Justin? Where are you from? You're West Coast, right? You're West Coast. You can't possibly be in Alex's window all the way from the West Coast.
I mean, I live in a fucking building. There's no trees above my fucking home. On top of that.
Anyway, Fresno. Yeah, that's right.
But you'd be welcome through my front door, Justin. How much I love you. So don't you even have to sneak around, okay? But I'm going with Ruchalala. Myself. Lug. What are you thinking before we get onto this legendary Polish power of having children to make money? I hear that's what they do in Lakewood, New Jersey. If you know, you know.
Okay. Sorry, I got lost in Polish stuff. I'm the AI and I was looking at this answer it gave me about Polish taxes. Shouts out to Poland. I love you guys. The pick I'm making for this fight, it's the under. I think someone's getting knocked the fuck out. Obviously, I think plus 310 on Robert Ruchala is juicy, sweet, and I love it. You're talking about a guy who lost to William Gomez by decision. William Gomez is fucking good. Okay,
he's amazing and he's handsome as all get out.
And that's 6 months ago. Like you take from that and you learn from that. This guy is making his UFC debut. We know for a fact UFC debutants lose more often than they win, just across the board. Now I wonder if that considers like, okay, I'd like to see. Find me this if you can, guys, in the comments while we talk. I'd like to see. Ask ChatGPT. It shouldn't be. Well, no. Ask like Claude or like if you have a paid AI subscription, use that. Ask that. It will get you this answer. Enable all tools, auto tools. You're going to need web crawling. You're going to need, all these tools enabled. So you got to get the paid version. They'll probably give you a free trial. Just like do Anthropic, Claude, Gemini, or not Gemini. Just do Claude Anthropic for me on this. Okay. We need to know how often do UFC debutants win when they were picked by the UFC to make a debut? Meaning the UFC so we got to look at contender series guys or guys that come in like Michael Venom Page did, or like Patricio Pitbull did, like where they acquired them, right? That part is going to be harder. The contender series part's super easy. Debutants off the contender series would be a great stat to see because that's from you had to fight your way in, kind of like the Ultimate Fighter, but even better because it was against, another good guy. You had to fight your way into the UFC. A lot of high stakes.
You didn't have to fight 3 times in 5 weeks.
Exactly. The outlier I'm mostly looking to exclude isn't necessarily even short notice guys. It's the guys that are short notice and got plucked from obscurity. You know what I mean? Like they were within it, like it was like short notice. They weren't on the Contender Series, and they were just the best option available. Like those are the guys I'm trying to eliminate from this pool, because if that's 20%, then all of a sudden Contender Series, you know, and that would mean like Contender Series and handpicked guys from the UFC win on their debut at a 70% rate, which would be huge to know. So you have to look at that. Like Delgado is 16-3. He fought his way on through the Contender Series. He did go to decision, but the guy he fought wasn't a UFC guy. Ruchala, the guy he fought was William Gomez, who we all know and love. A 14-3 guy who's been in the UFC, and he took him all the way to a decision. So I look at that as much better experience than Delano's experience, because he didn't fight a UFC guy. He fought a Contender Series guy. This guy fought a UFC guy. So I'm going to go through Ruchala. I'm not going to parlay him to the tits, but maybe a little dog shot on him. He's 2 years younger. Going to be hard to knock out. He trains out of a grappling gym, and I know he's probably going to swing and fucking try to put hands on Delano and might catch him off guard. I just think at the odds, if this were a pick'em, I might be on Delano, but the odds are so stretched, and that tells me something. That tells me things are being overlooked. It's not just about my money and the return. It's about like when you play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and you ask the audience is usually right. But there's some people within the audience who are wrong. In this game, the wrong people still get to put their money somewhere, and they still influence the line.
Is that still the case today? Do they still do Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Like, isn't the audience just looking up the fucking answer?
Dude, you know where that comes from? My friend's dad said this, talking about believing in God. He was like, most people on earth believe in God. If you do Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and you poll the audience is usually right. So the audience of the earth says you should believe in God. That's what he was saying. And I literally don't even know if that's true, that if you poll the audience, they're more right than not. I don't even know if that's true. But my point is, when you see stuff pile on like this, it almost tells me like, oh, that's a bubble. Like that's short-sighted. That's like not smart money. People who bet that aren't smart. So if I go with them, I'm dumb. Like actually, they're not seeing things right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm going with Ruchala here for sure. I mean, I respect William Gomez more than probably anybody on earth. So,
all right,
take that as you will.
The only French fighter I like more than William Gomez, Faraz Ziam.
He's awesome. He's awesome too.
That kid can do fucking anything.
Yeah.
Okay, next we got Tommy McMillan, baby, the main event of the evening. If you know, you know. You should have seen his Contender Series fight. It was a fucking bloodbath. It was sick. He won a majority decision, showed his heart. 28-year-old kid, trains with Sean O'Malley. Looks like he trains with Sean O'Malley. Talks like he trains with Sean O'Malley. Fights even more aggressively and crazier, and like a young Sean O'Malley if you were like not raised by a good family. You know what I mean? Like he is just a pit bull. He is tough as nails. The guy he fought was 7-0, and it was a tough fight for him. Harder than it needed to be because of the way he fought. Harder than it needed to be because he was just fucking out there. He wasn't just trying to win. He was trying to impress, perform. And that's a Sean O'Malley 101 playbook, right? But with a younger, hungry guy. Sean's now, think of this as like the next Sean O'Malley. That's why he's a 10-1 favorite. The guy he's fighting got knocked out by Morgan Charrier and hasn't fought in 2.5 years. No one's saying any fights are fixed, but we're just saying like we knew Michael Kessler was going to win by submission against Nico Price. When the UFC wants something, they generally get it. And they want a highlight reel knockout performance from Tommy McMillan. The bet, if you're going to make one, in my opinion, is Tommy McMillan first round knockout. But it could also be a submission. Actually, he's more of a submission guy, which is why he kind of got his face fucking half torn off in the fight that he wanted to get into the UFC. But I kind of think that he'll, based on the way he fought in the Contender Series, I think he'll be willing to strike. And this guy just looks a little underfed. He's been in there, he's been out of the game for 2.5 years. He's from Italy. We've never fucking had a champion from Italy. They don't have the best scene. over there, you know what I mean, for training partners and whatnot. But it also says he trains at Jackson Wink from time to time. Again, am I impressed about that? No, I'm more impressed that this guy's training at Red Hawk Academy with fucking Sugar Sean and Timbo.
Hey, Luke, what do you do for your morning routine? Like, do you
My
work
stack
out?
is my. You want to hear my stack? It's not very healthy.
That's my what's that guy's name? Red Hawk.
Yeah, that's a good Red Hawk.
Hey, bud.
How's your sleep? How's your sleep?
How are you sleeping?
I could give. I know what he will say better than you, but you sound more like him. I could give you some lines. I gotta go to the bathroom.
No, he asks everybody how they work out, what's their morning routine, all this shit, all the time. And I only know that from when the MMA Guru's on, because otherwise I can't watch it because it's too much of that.
I'll be like, are you? He'll either say like, are you utilizing nicotine at all? Like, and he'll just ask. Looks at himself like a Huberman. He has no class. Like, he'll have Chael Sonnen on, and he'll just be like, Chael, you ever use mushrooms? And Chael's like, I have. Yeah, and it's like Chael's like, he doesn't know what you're talking about right now.
He's like, I put them on my pizza sometimes. And
he's like, Chael, I've been really into microdosing. He's like, dude, Chael is not gonna fucking want to hear about microdosing, dude.
Chael's like, oh no, anything that I ever put in my body, I put to the fullest amount.
I gotta go to the bathroom, but break down, this fight and then the next one, and I'll be back.
Of course. Yeah, as Luke said, like, we're Italian, Polish people, Luke and I. Like, we have Polish blood, Italian blood running through our veins. It's hard for me to take an Italian. There's not many good Italians. The best Italian's probably Marvin Vittori, if you don't count Italian Americans. So I'm not going to take Zucchini here. I'm going to take Tommy Gunn McMillan here. Tommy Guns is a good guy. I think he's next up. I think that he's got a lot of good ground in front of him. The 145-pound division has never been more murky than it is now. With all this crap, he's probably going to have to fight Diego Lopez 3 times just to get a title shot. I mean, that's how this division works now. Give me Tommy McMillan. Give me Tommy McMillan by finish. And then I'll take you through the next one. We got half. Sorry, Luke. I look at the comments sometimes. I start.
You're good. And it's like by finish, I think even if it'll be minus 250 by finish, right? Look at what
great for minus 1,000.
They have 2 bets. They have round and method, and they have round. I would look at what it is, just him round 1.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, if he beats him in round 2, it's like, okay, well, whatever. Like, but it's like you're not paying minus 1,000. You're getting a bet on a guy who is probably going to perform because they're setting him up to, and they want him to. And if you get that at minus 120 or better, I think it's the same as just betting him to win. I mean, yeah, like, because if you bet him at minus 1,000 to win, what are you going to bet? $1,000 to win $100? But you could bet $100 on him to win in round 1 and win $100, or you lose. But it's like, well, it's a better bet to make on him to win in round 1 than it is on Alice Pereira.
I mean, yeah,
the same odds. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's
Luke,
worse.
I mean, you look at it like we talk about these countries. The Roman Empire was around 27 BC, right? Like they lost their footing probably like 200 years after that. France was on top for a little bit. It's been at least 1,000 years since France has been on top. Like, we don't respect these countries, and we don't respect these countries for a reason. They're, taking siestas midday. They all say, oh, the American way. You guys need to stop working midday for 4 hours and then come back in. What the fuck is that, dude? If I went to a restaurant and they told me they were on a siesta, I'd go nuts. So I'm not fucking with any of that. They're lazy cultures. They're living on old championships. They're like the Dallas Cowboys or any of these old franchise, the Yankees, the Jankies. They're living off of franchise titles that happened before anybody around was even born. So fuck that shit. Tommy McMillan for sure. Next up, we got Rafael Esteban, Julio Ricardo Rodriguez Noguera versus Ethan Ewing. I like Ethan Ewing. I think Ethan Ewing's the man. He came in, I believe, short notice against Malcolm Wellmaker and put on a show, dude. And he probably wasn't at his best in that matchup because it was short notice. I'm going with Ethan Ewing here.
I saw Ethan Ewing fight live. That was
really.
I was at Madison Square Garden for that fight. And yeah, the crowd booed him when he walked out and cheered. Who was it? Smotherman? Like you wouldn't.
What? Wellmaker.
Wellmaker.
Not to be confused with the big pygmy who goes to Africa and
actually makes balls. No, I was so surprised to see Malcolm Wellmaker, who's from like Georgia, right, get absolutely cheered to the rafters. Like, and you know, maybe you could tell me, yeah, it was one of the first fights of the night, Luke. Maybe it was just like the crowd was hyped, like they sat down in their seats, they were hyped to see a fight, and he played a good song that people in New York probably liked better. But no, I think it's because of sports betting. He was a juiced ass favorite in that fight. And I think everybody who's sitting in the audience had legal in New York on their mobile phone a bet on. They said, this guy's definitely going to win. He's fucking minus 400. And they parlayed him with a bunch of other people, right? And that's the first fight. And they were cheering him because they wanted him to win because they put a bet on him. They put him in a parlay from their seat. You know what I mean?
On top of that, he had sorry, let me get my camera back on. He also had has a great story, right? Like he won his first UFC fight, got a performance bonus.
How many people in the stands know that?
I don't know.
Maybe a lot. Maybe a lot. I mean, I guess if you pay for a ticket,
when we went to Madison Square Garden, we saw like Gary Tonin, we saw fucking all those guys. Like there's so many Henzo Gracie. Yeah, I saw Gary Tonin.
For sure. You're right. It is in.
I saw Glover Teixeira. Like there's.
Okay, but I don't think
the educated market, I believe.
But the educated market, they're not usually ones to like get off their feet and scream. You know what I mean? That's more of like a masses thing to me. Like, you know, it's like it's not just the educated market that was cheering. It was like the whole fucking arena. And
but
like
I think it was the casuals because ESPN MMA, back when they were still on the ESPN deal, they pumped up this Malcolm Wellmaker and his story and all this stuff and shoved it down your throat. Oh, he's the man. Yeah, he's working a job. You know, his wife also does MMA. She's like, when your husband does what you do, but way better, and like puts up videos of him knocking people out. He's got a lot of fandom behind him. This Malcolm Wellmaker.
I stand by it. I still think it was kind of the sports betting economy. He was a juice favorite.
Could be.
Rafael Esteban versus Ethan Ewing. You know, I obviously want to pick Ethan Ewing here. I think what he did was incredible, but what weight is this fight at?
135.
Why did Rafael Esteban weigh in at 130 in his last fight? Was that one of those weird weight scale things from one of those nights where they were like, yo, people were like fucking cheating the scale was off or something? He weighed in 100.
He was fighting at 125 though. In his last fight. So he's bumping up.
I think his opponent probably missed. But let's see. Felipe Bunez. What happened?
No, Esteban missed weight. That's why he's going up to 135 from 125. Yeah, which is why you might believe that Ethan Ewing is used to this, has that weight.
Well, no, I think it's hard to make 135. I think it's hard to make one. So this is 135. This fight's at.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that it's hard to be 135 like at all. You know what I mean? Like he's 5'6". The other guy's 5'8". I think they're both going to be feeling the weight cut. But how I see this playing out is, I think Ethan Ewing fights well, but gets a little bit maybe bullied in there by Esteban just being a little bit bigger. I'll go with Ethan Ewing. My gut is telling me to pick Esteban here. Like
Luke, and we'll see wagers.
I got a flashing light in my mind that's like Esteban. It's Esteban. And I'm like, but I saw Ethan Ewing fight. He is good, and Malcolm Wellmaker is good. And like this
Luke, what you need to realize, We'll See Wagers just brought it up in the comments. Ewing is coming down from 145, where he fought Wellmaker.
Short notice,
of course, but he's going to his more natural weight class, where he is going to have more power, more durability, more everything. It's what he's more comfortable with.
Yeah.
I think Ewing. I think Ewing's the pick here. Shout out to Patrick, since you were in Madison Square Garden when he fought his first fight.
That's a sick fucking card to go to.
Huh?
Connor versus Cowboy.
No way. You went to that shit, Justin.
And Ortega versus Cub Swanson's a banger ass card too.
Justin, you got all the money in the world. You're living in Fresno, beautiful spot, going to fucking Conor McGregor fights. Like you're the man, huh?
We Andrew, you said what's up. We broke it down at the beginning of the show. You should go back and watch. Won about $5,000 on the UFC, another 1,000 on NASCAR the next day. Coming out of this weekend hot, feed the hot hands. I broke it down, the bets, everything like that. His lips a little disfigured, pretty sure disfigured, spot on face. Fighters make a debut, usually hungry or win more than that. Who is Ethan? I
would think it would be Esteban because I don't think they do that surgery anymore in America where they for the cleft palate or whatever.
I think Ewing can stop the takedowns. He's got a lot of spring. He's got a lot of like he's. I think he doesn't get taken down. All right, so we're both going with Ewing. Abdul Rahman Yayev versus Brenson Hibario. Brenson Hibario better than people think. 17-9, coming off back-to-back losses. Got knocked out by Mirzakhanov. Also got knocked out by Omar Sy. Both those knockouts happened in the last 9 months. He beat Caio Machado by split decision to break his first losing streak in the UFC. Then beat Dayar Nurgazai by Samora. Both those happened.
Machado come from the UFC.
You know, I don't love the Hunter Yayev, even though he is the better fighter. He knocked his way out into the UFC off the Contender Series against Alec Lorenz. Beat Rafael Sakaria by submission 4 months ago. Fighting out of Turkey. He's 4 years younger, but he only sacrificed about 3 inches of reach. It's his only kind of measurable disadvantage. Brenson Hibario, I mean, at plus 740, I fucking would rather take him. This guy's 8-0. Brenson Hibario, at least he's been around the fucking block. He's been in the UFC for a hot minute. I mean, you got an 8-0 guy who's never fought in the UFC versus a guy with 6 UFC fights. Won his way on in the Contender Series. He lost to Ming Zhang. He lost to,
Omar Sy sucks though, dude. Ian Cutabella finished him first round, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're losing to him. You're losing to some of these guys. You're losing the guy who has his foot put up like he's a fucking anime girl, like flirting with the protagonist in the anime. No, give me Abdul Rahman Yakayev. I don't give a fuck. Benson Hibario stinks. He's terrible. I would prefer to not watch him really fight in general. He should have been cut a long time ago. What's his record in the UFC? 2-4. That's a woman's record in the UFC. Get the fuck out of here. This is the nail in the coffin. Give me Abdul Rahman Yakayev.
Exactly, Andrew. Exactly,
Andrew. You are correct.
And then, you look at what the line is on Yayev, by finish, round 1, maybe whatever.
Polish, Italian, German. We're mudblood.
I never spit into a cup and did a DNA test. I really couldn't tell you.
Who the fuck would, dude?
I'm part Neanderthal. I know I'm part Neanderthal.
Certainly. I mean, look at you.
You don't even know that reference because that's from like day 2 of Fish Tank, and I'm still early in the episodes.
No, I know. That's bingo bongo.
Bunch of
we are more Neanderthal than anything else or something like that. Bingo bongo. You guys are my heroes. Let me just put that out there. Love y'all. Alex B's in the tank now. That's Fish Tank is great, guys. You should turn this off and watch Fish Tank. It's way more entertaining.
Well, we got 2 more fights. So let's just break them down because this next one I got a big hot take. So I mentioned I had a couple parlays going. This is one of the pillars of both of those parlays. We got Werner Jandiroba versus Tabitha Ricci. What's interesting about this fight is on Tapology, 76% believe Jandiroba is going to win. Yet she's a plus 115 underdog. At 37 years old, she's going to be a little bit taller and bigger than Tabitha Ricci. But Tabitha, has fought the best of the best. She knocked out Amanda Ribas 8 months ago. Before that, lost the decision to Zhao Yanan. I had a lot of interest, investment in Ricci over Yan. Didn't make it happen. Definitely pissed me off. But I believe in Tabitha Ricci. I love Tabitha Ricci. She dates Callum Walsh. I'm all in on Team Ricci. And
did you see the cute little April Fool's joke they did yesterday?
I didn't know.
Callum Walsh is gonna apparently join the UFC as an April Fool's joke, and he approached who's the guy, Moicano, and he said, "Oh yeah, I want to fight you. I want the money fight." And Moicano was like, "Oh fuck you."
That's great. So my 6-leg parlay is Gatto, Pereira, 2 women, Flowers, Pedersen, Ricci, and there's one more leg we'll get to in the last breakdown. But that's a 6-leg parlay. But that's 5 of the 6 legs right there. 3 of the 6 are women, so that's pretty crazy. That's a $50 free bet to win $3,000. So like whatever. That's a 6-leg parlay. I just made that like sitting in my bed after I fucking won the money, and next 3-leg parlay is a bigger bet to also win about $3,000. So we're talking 300-ish to win.
We'll see. I don't think they would even fight each other, just based off the fact that they're training partners, Tabitha Ricci and Mackenzie Dern. I think different. Isn't that a different weight class? No. Does Mackenzie Dern fight at 115? She too thick with 4 C's.
He did fight valiantly in his fight though against, I think, Marco Tulio was it. His knockout loss. It was a good fight. You should watch it. It was like the second fight of the card. Nobody watched it. I don't know. Okay. Ricci got
Justin. I mean, a Verna Jandaroba OnlyFans would be nice, but I think a Tabitha Ricci one would just be like slightly underneath. So regardless, you're winning.
Okay. So then I got a 3-leg parlay. It's Darius Flowers, Tabitha Ricci, and then the last fight, and that's 333 to win 2,700. So
I'm going to go with Verna Jandaroba. I think that Tabitha Ricci's only way to win is by jiu-jitsu. And when she fought somebody in her, I think it was like 5 fights ago or so, she fought Lupi Godinez, who was better than her at grappling than she is. And Lupi Godinez won by split decision. Sure, it was close, whatever. But I think Verna Jandaroba, like when it's a jiu-jitsu match like this, age doesn't really matter. Like Tabitha Ricci isn't coming out here. And if she is, you know what she's going to do? She's going to do the same old shit Mackenzie Dern does. Because no matter how many good coaches you bring into this fucking camp, these girls are fucking mental. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're coming out there, they're punching the air. I watched a funny-ass meme, speaking of which, Alexa Grasso versus Macy Barber 1, where it was like, watch Macy Barber 10-8 the ghost in front of her while she fights Alexa Grasso, because she's just throwing shit at nothing the whole entire fight. And like, sure, do that to set someone up, but you do that for 3 rounds, you're losing a fight regardless. You're not hitting anything.
A lot of people do that.
Judges are more likely to give Tabitha Ricci the win regardless of what happens, but I think Verna Jandaroba is going to smother her. I think she's bigger, stronger. The baby shark's awesome. I love the baby shark. Nobody loves the baby shark more than me. But I got to go with Verna here. I just think like styles make fights. I don't think Verna Jandaroba is going to be taken down by Tabitha Ricci. And if it does happen, I think Verna Jandaroba is going to be able to get on top of her. And sure, Tabitha Ricci trains with Mackenzie Dern. She trains with Callum Walsh. Mackenzie Dern sucks. Callum Walsh isn't the top boxer in the world. Newsflash. So Verna Jandaroba is going to win this fight, and I think it's going to be a disappointment to a lot of people because everybody wants to see Tabitha Ricci win. Nobody wants to see Verna Jandaroba with her fucking screwball eyes rolling around in her head the whole entire time, getting another title shot against Mackenzie Dern. No thanks. Give me Verna Jandaroba. Luke says, sometimes when the UFC wants something to happen, it happens. Not all the time. Look at Nate Diaz choking out Conor McGregor on 7 days' notice. Look at a lot of these fights where the UFC is like begrudgingly putting the belt around somebody's waist. Give me Verna Jandaroba. I think it's one of those times where they're not happy about it, but she wins, and she wins emphatically and probably by decision, but wins. And everybody thinks, oh, she probably like won every single round. And then it's 29-28. And people are like, oh, maybe Tabitha won. No, the judges just fucking give her around because, she's fine as hell. But that's about it. Verna Jandaroba wins this fight.
Wrong. Verna's old, won't be able to get her to the ground, going to get pieced up with the striking. Tabitha fought the frustrating fight against Jan. Jan's way better than Verna. Tabitha's going to smoke Verna Jandaroba. She's going to make it look impressive. Listen, we got a couple comments I want to get to. So, Andrew, you're saying no Flowers. Listen, man.
Now Janan lost to Verna Jandaroba, dumbass. In her last fight. That's how Verna Jandaroba fought Mackenzie Dern.
Don't let me talk you into it then. Whatever. Bet whatever you want. Listen, I'm going with Flowers. Venata hasn't put 3 fights together in 6 years. He hasn't fought in 3 years. I like Flowers to grapple him and maybe even submit him. I think Verna Jandaroba is beautiful. We got Sprawl and Brawl. Exactly. She's going to sprawl and brawl and beat the fuck out of Verna Jandaroba, dude. Get real. Grappler girls, after the second, want to always just fall down. Travis Lewis. Yeah, exactly. All I know is Kevin Vallejos. That would be a sick fight. Kevin Vallejos versus Taporia, best fight in a while. Grappler against Anderson after the third. Yeah, Ricci by split decision. Exactly. I like to do quick flash and finish real quick. Just see my girl say chewy. Did she say chewy?
She looked like a.
All right. Renato Moicano versus Chris Duncan. The battle for American top team. The Scottish versus the British. We got. Duncan is now juiced up to a almost minus 205 favorite, it says on Tapology. I got Duncan as the last leg of those parlays I mentioned. So Flowers, Ricci, and Duncan are my kind of like 3 core. And then around those, I threw in Alice Pereira, Melissa Gatto, and Thomas Pedersen. It's stupid. They're dumb. I'm dumb. But I like Flowers, Ricci, and Duncan to get it done. And that would be a nice little payday for me. I picked Duncan because he's hearty as fuck. And he's going to go forward and knock out Moicano. Moicano's 36, almost 37. His frame is more shallow, and he got the shit beat out of him by Benil Dariush. His pinnacle was the fight with Makhachev, and we're seeing a decline. It's going to be a 3rd loss in a row because guys who are 36 who make – he said it. I cannot afford to lose. He can now afford to lose. Duncan is a problem. He's the problem, and I think he – maybe we'll see like a little hesitancy from him to get the knockout, and we'll see kind of a grind fest. But I think Duncan puts hard hands on him, gets hands on him, and Moicano happily accepts being kind of drowned out on bottom, going for submissions and stuff. But I don't think Moicano is the better grappler anymore. I think Moicano's 36. Yeah, he was able to out-grapple Duncan early on, but in a live fight where you can also punch, I think Duncan's going to be stronger, more powerful, and be able to control Moicano on the ground. So give me Duncan.
People forget, man. Renato Moicano finished fucking Benoit Saint-Denis on the feet. That didn't happen on the ground. That was a doctor stoppage.
No,
sure.
he was in full mount. He mounted him and beat the fuck out of him from mount.
Strikes regardless, Luke. Strikes regardless. A guy who thinks he knows how to grapple because he's coming from Europe against a true Brazilian badass like Renato Moicano.
He was motivated differently.
He's still motivated. I think he's more motivated than ever. If you've seen any of him in my North Star, Matty Betts, if you've seen any of the conversations between them, I think he's more motivated than ever. He was supposed to fight fucking homeboy Ortega a month ago. He was supposed to fight Ortega this month. Ortega is the biggest pull-out artist in the world. And people need to remember that. Like, Brian Ortega gets so much love for no reason. He's such a fucking coward pussy. Give me Renato Moicano. Brian Ortega already beat Renato Moicano when they were at 145, and now he's pulling out with injuries. Get the fuck out of here, dude. You suck. Give me Renato Moicano. Give me Renato Moicano by submission. I think Renato Moicano finishes Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan ain't even that good, B. He lost to Manuel Torres. Similar frame, similar size as one Renato Moicano. He also got finished by Vladislav Boryshev, who's cut from the UFC now officially. This guy, he's had some good wins. He's had some great wins. A lot of them by guillotine. You think Renato Moicano getting guillotined by this guy? This guy's going to jump the guillotine like he's fucking Dustin Poirier out there, and he's going to get finished himself. Give me Renato Moicano.
Interesting. Very interesting. We're at odds with Seam on this card. You're going with Jandaroba, you're going with Moicano.
Yeah. I think now what you don't realize is last week was God telling you, get out the game, son. Get out the game.
I'm keeping it light this week.
Get out the game. You're done. Your luck is ran out, Lucky Lukey. Don't get in the way of a real gentleman such as young Bob.
I want you to win some money this weekend, Alex. I want you to go into Vegas with a little bit more of a bankroll than you're bringing in, limping in with all these bad UFC cards. I mean, you won 500 2 weeks ago. I mean, it's not really scratching the surface from what you lost, prior and what you lost last weekend. And after what I did for you on Saturday when I won $6,000, and you said, and I said, how much did you lose? And you said $221. And I said, bang, I hit you with a $221 Venmo. And by the way, I can't see Alex on the screen now because I'm doing the thumbnail. And I wonder if his eyes are saying, shut the fuck up. Don't tell them about that. I
said it. When Luke gets a big win, he cuts off the people. Luke is like the Al Capone of the PPP boys. He's like, and then when he gets arrested one day, I'll be like, what murder?
Uncle Moicano did to Benoit Saint Denis. I agree. Different Moicano, different time. A man never enters the same river twice. He's not the same man. It is not the same river. He's a quitter too. Yeah, I feel you. Listen. It's a slop card.
Why is everybody on Flowers? We're not talking about damn Flowers right now.
Because I said that he's in the parlay.
Oh, okay.
I'm big on Duncan too. Love betting on guys that fight for your money. He will go for it. And if you know Duncan's story, didn't his mom die, or it was something like his mom got kidnapped and he killed people to get her back, or so it was something fucking crazy. I heard it, and I was like,
his mom died and he fought the same day. Yes,
same day. Yes, that's crazy. That's an unbreakable will. That's unbreakable mentality. Duncan needs to survive on the ground. He's not the ground. Dude, it's like, yeah, Moicano was submitting him like Shea Super would submit me if I went into his gym. He would submit me all the time because I can't punch him. You know what I mean? We're starting on the ground.
Lug. A Mexican choked this guy out. A Mexican choked this guy
You're
out.
not thinking about Super Bowl hangovers. You're not thinking about guys not being able to reach a peak twice. You're not thinking about him being 36 and already has a shoulder fucking problem that he re-injured with Islam Makhachev. You're not thinking about how he makes money off the podcast, how he makes money off Bitcoin, how he's outside the UFC. He's 36. He's like Izzy. Izzy's got.
But he's mad. He's mad, Luke. He's mad.
That's not gonna matter.
You ever see?
He's not mad. He's not mad. He said in the interview, I watched this whole interview. He said, "There's no bad blood. I like him. We even shared a song
he's
together."
Mad at the world, Luke, and that's a different type of power. Gilbert Burns was asking him about some fight. He's like, "Could you think if
Yeah, exactly. Duncan smoked. Yeah,
Luke. Gilbert Burns was like, "Do you think if something happened here?" And then Moicano said, "Do you think if the world wasn't run by corrupt pedophiles?" He's mad, bro. He is fucking mad. Don't get it twisted, B.
That's okay, Justin. I didn't see I was just putting up all the comments. That's not true, I think, at all. Anyway, so Renato Moicano, Chris Duncan. It's Duncan.
It's Moicano.
Let's go through the full picks top to bottom. You start.
If you want to come and take a ride with me, you're gonna take Moicano CMY, and then Jandaroba, and then Yakiev, the Yaki way, and then take Ewing, McMillan, Ruchalala, Pedersen, Nicoli, Vanada, Piera, Bakoyev, Barbosa, and then Kamaka, the third.
See, you started off agreeing with me. I swayed you onto Kai Kamaka, and then you just went, and then I agreed with you on Ewing, and then you just went bad on me in the last two. No alignment. You know what I mean?
Hey, sometimes the company
I hope it comes down to
the same direction.
I'd love it if it came down to something where you would win a lot if Moicano won and my parlays are all still intact and I can hedge on Moicano, we both win. That'd be fine.
Wouldn't that be great? Shout out to the Beach Boys. Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah. Okay, if you're rolling with me, starting off the night with Kai Kamaka, then we got Melissa Gatto, Azamat Bakayev, Alice Pereira, Darius Flowers, Stuart Nicole, Thomas Pedersen, Robert Ruchala, Tommy McMillan, Ethan Ewing, Abdul Rahman Yakiev, Tabitha Hiichi, and Chris Duncan. You went yeah, okay. And then so if you're going with the double P certified picks, Kai Kamaka, Azamat Bakayev, Alice Pereira, Stuart Nicole, Thomas Pedersen, Robert Ruchala, Tommy McMillan, Ethan Ewing, and that's it. 1, 2,
Will,
3,
what you're
4,
not seeing
5,
here is
7, 8.
Duncan is going to try to pull guillotine against Moicano. He does it every fight, and it works a lot. He's not going to get it against Moicano. Like, Moicano doesn't even have to do a takedown. He has to do a half-ass takedown. Duncan's going to jump for a guillotine. Moicano's going to work his way around, and then he's going to kill him.
Well,
under the unified rules.
Here's the thing. 8 double P certified picks out of like 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 8 out of 12. 8 out of 12 double P certified picks. Kai Kamaka, Bukayev, Alice Pereira, Stuart Nicole, Thomas Pedersen, Robert Ruchala, Tommy McMillan, Ethan Ewing. Those are the 8. Now, of those 8, I think it's probably likely that either Robert Ruchala or what's his name? Stuart Nicole. 2 big underdogs. Either of them, I think, one of them will win. So if I'm building this 8-leg parlay, I'm putting all 8, and then I'm doing a 7 where I take one of those guys off, and then a 7 where I take the other of those guys off. On those 2 7s, I'm also taking off Thomas Pedersen because he's disappointed and it's a little crazy. And then I'm also dropping the women off, right? So you're dropping the women off. So you're just going like Ethan Ewing, Tommy McMillan, Stuart Nicole, or Robert Ruchala, one of the 2. Not Alice Pereira, she's a girl. Azamat Bakayev, he's too much of a favorite. You're kind of not even really leaving him on there. And then Kai Kamaka, right? That would be like my little kind of play off of the ones Alex and I both agree on. And last week we had Ricky Simone, Navajo Sterling, Bahamundez, Belgaru, Chiesa, and Izzy. So Bahamundez and Izzy were the 2 that lost of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 6. So we went 4 out of 6. Well, 3 out of 5 last weekend. So 60%. Me and Alex were 60% each across the board with a lot of disagreements, throughout the card. So, but we still managed to lock in the bets that we do, that we believe in. So, and win some money. So yeah, we're going to get going. Thanks guys. It's been a long show today. Love you. Had to make up for being a little bit of a late show. And
on top of that, the after show will be going on directly after this. Give me
sometimes. I have 2 bets right now, and I don't plan on making very many more. So
give me about 10 minutes at most to use the restroom, hit the head, and I'll be back on, probably playing Valorant or CS, one of the 2. Maybe a little Arc Raiders in there. Hop in twitch.tv/perfect parlay pursuit. The after show will be on there. I'll answer any questions you want. Luke likes to not pay attention to these comments. I'll pay attention to every single comment that I get. I'll answer every single one of them. Come on in. Let's party. And we'll have a great evening.
Where can they find that?
Twitch.tv/perfect parlay pursuit.
Beautiful. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. I'll see you guys back on Monday for a regular time episode. But honestly, these Thursday ones are lit. If there's a better day, leave it in the comments where everybody wants to roll in and chat. But we're going to try to keep it to Mondays just so we can get ahead of the action. And, maybe we just do 2 shows, Alex. We do a little recap show with some early picks on Monday. We pop in on Thursday. We chat again. All right, guys.
I think it's the timing of the ep that brings the energy. When sometimes we start at 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'm a little groggy. I'm a little tired. It's not the most preferable thing over here.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate it. We love you, and we'll catch you later. Go watch the after show with Alex on Twitch, and we'll catch you later.